It has been several years since Terry transitioned at work. Her transition was initiated by her spouse, Jill, because she recognized that Terry would never be completely happy until he became Terry. Jill was aware of the constant stress in Terry's life and remembered that when they were dating, Terry mentioned that at one point in his life, while he was single, he had attended a Halloween dress-up party, going as the office secretary. Jill did not know why Terry chose that outfit. Was it a dare? Did he lose a bet? Or did he draw the short straw, designating what he would have to wear? But she filed that information in her memory. Years later, thinking that a change in Terry would enhance their retirement, she initiated a very gradual feminization process, a process which turned Terry into Terry. That change made their marriage stronger and even more fun. Terry's coworkers noticed that she became more relaxed and friendlier as her feminization progressed, although, at first, they did not know that Jill was on a mission to feminize her husband. They simply thought that Jill wanted to update Terry to a trendier style of clothing. Jill shared her plan with only one trusted coworker. Until Jill's plan had progressed to the stage that it was apparent that just modernizing Terry's wardrobe was not Jill's real intent, the other coworkers had no clue as to Jill's mission. Once it was obvious that Jill was not stopping at just updating Terry's wardrobe, rumors went home to the spouses, some of whom were quite interested in the new developments. Such a good rumor had not come out of the office in a long time. Secretly, some of the wives were envious of Jill's adventurous spirit, because their husbands were too macho, and some softening, getting in touch, a bit, with their feminine side, wouldn't hurt them. Of course, there were those men, in the office, who were drawn to women who took care to display their femininity, and because such women are sometimes difficult to find, some of these men were consequently drawn to crossdressers, associating with them at bars, nightclubs, or for dinner and movie dates. There was one such man in the office where Terry used to work, her former boss Eric. When Eric began to notice that Terry was starting to dress nicer for work, he complimented him. Terry explained that it was his wife's idea to update his wardrobe, truly not knowing at that time what his wife's real motivation was. As Terry began to wear feminine shirts, shirt blouses, Eric admired Terry for not being afraid to try something new. Little did Eric know that Jill was conning Terry into wearing the feminine shirts, with the excuse that she loved the smoother texture because it didn't irritate her fingers, as did his old shirts, whenever she gave him a back rub or caressed him, and that she wanted him to look trendier. Regardless of the reason for Terry's new style and clothing, every time he wore a new blouse to the office, Eric would tell him how nice he looked. Eric's wife was not given to displaying femininity by what she wore. She didn't use makeup, often only for very special dinners or celebrations, so her day-to-day appearance was quite plain. Eric was not one to miss the occasion when Terry wore a new shirt blouse or when he came to the office with a new hairstyle. Eric complimented Terry so often that Terry began to think Eric was jealous of his new look, but why? After several months of changes, each change making Terry look more feminine, Terry began to wonder why Eric was so complimentary. Did Eric miss the fact that Terry was looking more and more feminine each week? Or was it the more feminine look that made Eric so complimentary? Something was drawing Eric to Terry's new look, but what was it? But Eric was a very conservative person, one who never revealed his true inner feelings that said feminine looks nice on anyone. Eric too had his questions. Yes, he enjoyed looking at very femininely dressed women, but why was he so drawn to Terry's changing appearance? Because of the challenging economic times, crime was rampant, and that put a lot of pressure on Eric as managing supervisor of the Office of Criminal Investigations. The long hours in difficult cases, difficult because folks were getting more clever and sophisticated in the crimes they committed, began to take a toll on the health of many of the staff. It seemed that there was no time to relax, no time to enjoy life. Eric felt the stress building in his life. At the same time, he thought back on how relaxed Terry became with each change in appearance. Eric wondered, how did wearing different clothing affect Terry's mood? Eric decided to find out the reason for Terry's changing mood. He Googled the topics of stress and crossdressing. Why crossdressing? Although at first the staff bought Terry's explanation that his wife was trying to get him into updated clothing for a different look, in preparation for retirement, it wasn't long before the talk around the office water cooler termed Terry's new clothing style as crossdressing. At sites such as Crossdress, Eric found research and true-life accounts that amazed him. Many experts in the field of crossdressing mentioned that if a man gets more in touch with his feminine side, it reduces his stress. These experts seem to agree that it takes great energy and creates substantial stress for a man to continually present a macho image. They stated that when a man stops trying to be super macho, to impress everyone with how much of a man he is, his blood pressure/stress is significantly reduced. Well, Eric wasn't buying any of this propaganda. This information seemed designed to turn macho men into sissies, thought Eric. Besides, even if the information was true, he was way too conservative socially and religiously to even entertain the thought of trying to get in touch with his feminine side in order to reduce his stress. With the recent crash of the housing market and stock market, crime skyrocketed. The stress of keeping up with the caseload became overwhelming. Eric felt worn out. It seemed that the nights were never long enough for adequate sleep. This sleep deprivation leads to exhaustion and/or depression, a period when the mind is so overworked that the body wears down. Eric was beginning to suffer from sleep deprivation. And indeed, Eric lost interest in his hobbies and family activities. He was simply too tired to participate in anything outside of work. Eric got so worn down that he thought medical advice was warranted. He booked an appointment with his doctor as soon as he could. Eric notified Gail, a coworker, that he had an appointment with his doctor. Gail decided that sharing some confidential information with Eric's doctor before Eric got to the doctor's office would be beneficial for Eric, information that Eric may not share with his doctor because, at this point, Eric may be unaware of. Eric arrived early at the doctor's office, and within 10 minutes, a medical tech entered the waiting room and announced, "Eric, the doctor will see you now. She is in room number 4. Nervously, Eric proceeded to room 4. His doctor, Carol Olson, asked what his complaint was. Eric explained his job situation. Dr. Olson asked Eric what he thought might help him to reduce his stress. Eric admitted that he was at a loss as to what he could do. The doctor then asked Eric how others in the office handled the stress. He told her that pretty much everyone was suffering from the same pressure and thought that a month's vacation in Hawaii would go a long way to reducing their stress. Before Dr. Olson could comment, Eric added that there was one employee, now retired, who seemed to be much less stressed than the other employees. Dr. Olson asked Eric whether he knew what this employee did to reduce his stress. Eric was afraid to tell his doctor about Terry and his transition to Terry. He didn't know whether he should tell his doctor how Terry seemed to become much more relaxed as his wife changed the clothing that he wore, and that Terry began to enjoy wearing feminine clothing so much, with his wife's encouragement, that he eventually transitioned to become a woman. Eric thought that if he had to trust his health to someone, it might as well be his doctor. Eric then told the doctor that he noticed that the former employee's wife started changing what he wore to work, and that seemed to affect his mood. Dr. Olson asked Eric to explain the employee's clothing change in more detail. After Dr. Olson listened to Eric's account, she made a surprising comment to Eric. Dr. Olson replied, "Well, Eric, why try to invent something new? If it worked for one of your employees, it could work for you. How do you think your wife would handle it if you started to dress differently for work?" Eric said that his wife would never go for it because she had an even more conservative upbringing than he did, and because in her family, she has 3 brothers who are all super macho, a car mechanic, a plumber, and a cement mason, and they would laugh her out of town, ridiculing her to no end. Eric, you don't have to rush into this. Just the fact that your mind knows it can expect something different each week or so will act as a relief valve, reducing stress so it cannot build to deadly levels. Eric, you have a choice. Try going the route of your former employee or visit the local funeral home and pick out your cemetery plot. Besides, Crossdressing isn't that uncommon anymore, and it certainly isn't a crime, stated Dr. Olson. Why do you say that? Asked Eric. I just checked the results of your blood pressure test and it's sky high. Was the doctor telling the truth? Only she knew. Dr. Olson continued, we need to get it down stat. Starting on that task today is not too soon, answered the doctor. Dr. Olson reminded Eric that starting immediately, to reduce his stress, was important and that even if he started very slowly, it would help his situation, because a slow start was better than not starting at all. Eric returned to the office, closed his door and put up the Do Not Disturb sign. He had some serious thinking to do. A multitude of questions crossed his mind. First, if he even dared to take Terry's route, how would he start? What excuse would he use? Knowing that his wife would object. What would his employees think? His friends, his family? How could he explain to anyone that he, such a macho guy, was wearing clothing with a feminine appearance? No, not just appearance, but actually feminine clothing. He would never live down the ridicule he would get. No, this is not something I can do, he thought. But what was the alternative? A stroke? A heart attack? Not pleasant alternatives. Eric realized that he really should take his doctor's advice. If it worked for Terry, why wouldn't it work for him? Eric decided that his health couldn't wait for him to get up the nerve to begin crossdressing, so he might as well bite the bullet and start today. Eric thought that he needed some help, but this help wouldn't come from his wife. He thought about how Terry was treated while transitioning to feminine clothing. Gail always seemed to compliment and encourage Terry. Yes, Gail would be the logical choice for someone in whom he could confide and ask for help. At lunch, Eric went to Gail's office and told her loud enough for others to hear that because of the extra work she had been doing, he wanted to buy her lunch. Gail accepted and off they went, across town, to a quiet restaurant. Eric was nervous. How would Gail react to what he was about to tell her? Would she be as encouraging and supportive to him as she was to Terry? Would she keep his plans a secret? Eric knew that the answers to his questions would never be found unless he told Gail why he offered to buy lunch. Don't chicken out. What's the worst that can happen to me? I can die from embarrassment, but oh, I can die from stress, and that's far less exciting than dying from embarrassment, thought Eric. Gail, I have something very confidential to share with you. Will you promise not to tell anyone, not even my wife, if she asks? Gail agreed, so Eric laid out his dilemma. Gail replied that she was relieved that he was only suffering from stress, not marital problems, family problems, or a more serious medical condition. Her reply seemed to calm Eric a bit, so he told her what his doctor suggested. Gail replied that it was an interesting twist of events. Terry's wife wanted to feminize him, but she felt that he would resist, so she had to slowly trick him into wearing women's clothing. Now it was Eric, who, at the suggestion of his doctor, wants to feminize his wardrobe, but is afraid that his wife would object. Gail suggested that, after work, they meet at a thrift store, where she could start on finding him some shirt blouses. Gail found a half-dozen shirt blouses, not too feminine or frilly, sort of gender-neutral. Eric appreciated Gail's help in picking out the blouses. But Eric had one question: how do I explain that I'm wearing a blouse to my wife? Gail suggested that he not tell his wife immediately. She thought that Eric should first get comfortable wearing a blouse at work for some time, letting his employees get accustomed to his new attire, before telling his wife anything about his plan. Gail suggested that in the morning, Eric should change the ink in the copier and deliberately spill some on his shirt, making sure that he complained loud enough for the staff to hear that he spilled ink on his shirt. Gail would then come to this rescue, offering to get him a shirt so he could change. She would then come back with a shirt, which really would be a shirt blouse. Gail offered to keep the blouses, which she would purchase, in her office, and if they both came in early, Eric could change from the shirt he wore from home to one of the new shirt blouses. Agreed upon the plan, Eric met Gail early in her office each day, and she gave him one of the new shirt blouses to wear. It was fall, so Eric was wearing a sport coat, so his new shirt blouses weren't readily visible. By midday, however, one of the female agents, Carol, came into his office. After talking to Eric for about 30 minutes, she took a closer look at him. Something seemed different about him. Yes, she thought, he's wearing a blouse. Before leaving the office, Carol commented, "I like the nice shirt your wife bought you. It looks so much nicer than the shirts you normally wear." "Thank you," was all Eric could mumble. "Oops," thought Eric, even with the coat on, she noticed my blouse. Eric couldn't wait to tell Gail about his encounter with Carol. He reminded Gail not to let on that she knew anything, in case Carol should mention anything to her. "Cross my heart," replied Gail. Gail decided that, with the feminine blouses, Eric should be wearing a woman's blazer instead of his sport coat, so one day she stopped by the thrift store again and picked up several blazers for him. Changing from a shirt to a blouse, each morning at the office, had become a daily routine. Once Eric began to wear the women's blazers over his blouses, it was easier to notice that there was a definite change in his appearance. In time, all of Eric's employees knew that he was wearing blouses instead of shirts and women's blazers to match. John, a younger employee, teased him, "So, how many shirts did you spill ink on? And your jackets too? Next time, don't wear your blazer when you add ink to the copier." Otherwise, maybe because of Terry's transition at work, there weren't many remarks or looks of concern about Eric wearing blouses and feminine blazers. This continued through the winter into spring. With warmer weather arriving soon, Eric would not be wearing a coat over his blouses. His blouses would stand out more. His employees would clearly and immediately see that he was wearing blouses, because without a jacket, it would be very obvious that he was wearing blouses. At Gail's suggestion, Eric thought that it would be prudent to warm up his wife up to the fact that he was wearing blouses at work. He would leave out the fact that he was also wearing matching blazers, but he didn't want her to be totally blindsided by having her hear about it from one of his employees. At the end of another busy week at work, Eric decided to wear a blouse home, instead of changing back to his shirt before he left work. Oh, he left his woman's blazer at the office. He decided on a reasonable excuse. When he arrived at home, his wife greeted him. Eric took off his sport coat and hung it up. As soon as he did so, his wife noticed the blouse. "What's with the new shirt, honey? Did she fail to see it was a blouse?" thought Eric. "Oh, the service company was busy and couldn't respond, so I had to change the ink in our copier," replied Eric. "I spilled some ink on my shirt, so Gail offered to run out and get me another shirt. She said she got it from a thrift shop. I guess that's all that was available," added Eric. "Well, I can't complain. It looks better than what you normally wear," added, "and why don't you keep it on when we go out to dinner tonight?" "I didn't feel like cooking today," stated, and Eric was pleasantly surprised, no shocked, at his wife's unexpected reaction. One hurdle crossed, thought Eric. But that seemed too easy. How would it feel if she knew that he was wearing blouses every day at work now and even feminine blazers to match? He would leave that topic for another day. After dinner, Anne and Eric went to the movies. As she was snuggling her husband, and noted that the soft texture of his blouse was much more pleasant and didn't irritate her skin, as did his regular shirts. And thought that she liked snuggling her husband better in a soft shirt better than his other shirts. During the movie, she commented, "Now I know why you love to cuddle up close to me when I'm wearing a soft blouse. But how do you feel wearing it? Wearing a blouse isn't something that men normally do. It doesn't seem to bother you." Eric replied, "Well, dear, it's not like I planned it. The guys at the office saw what happened and Gail was simply helping out, so I didn't see what harm it would cause if I wore a shirt which looks and feels a bit different than my other shirts." "I completely agree," replied Anne, "and I certainly don't mind, but imagine what our friends and family would think if they saw you right now. You're supposed to be a super macho guy, a law enforcement macho type, daily dealing with criminals. Can you see their reaction? Should they see you wearing a blouse? Eric answered, I'm not sure I could handle the ridicule and I don't know whether you could either, but I'm not doing this every day. It was an unexpected event today, so we don't have to worry about it. Well, may I say that spilling ink on your shirt was good, because I sure like the soft feel of your blouse, so let me enjoy it for the evening, commented, and Eric filed that comment in his mind. And added, so, next time we're out alone, how about wearing that blouse for me again? Monday, Eric couldn't wait to get a moment alone, to talk to Gail. Eric told her about him wearing the blouse home on Friday and Anne's request that he wear it to dinner. Gail replied, maybe she sees a softer side in you, but is hesitant to tell you that she likes the softer side better than the macho side, so she gave you that generic excuse about your blouse being softer to cuddle against, instead of telling you that you looked nicer, less rugged in a blouse. Women equate a softer personality with a more understanding and sensitive personality, and sensitivity is something every woman admires in a man more than being macho. Those words encouraged Eric in his plan. Maybe he could pull it off, saving his health without sacrificing his marriage. The following week, as Eric arrived early at the office, Gail met him with another blouse. The weather was now getting warmer, so the blouse was more feminine because it was of a lighter material than those he had worn previously. It would be more obvious, even with a blazer, that he was wearing a blouse. Eric objected. Gail, this blouse is a bit too feminine. Oh, Eric, don't worry. The women know that with warmer weather blouses get lighter, and yes, that makes them look a bit more feminine, but you can still wear a blazer for a week or so, until you get comfortable with wearing a more feminine blouse and before it gets really warm. And don't panic over the guys, I bet some of them are jealous and would love to wear something nicer than what they're wearing, but you know that men are so caught up with maintaining their macho image, that they're afraid to try a softer style of clothing. With Terry having transitioned at work, nothing you wear will shock the staff. I think the biggest hurdle will be getting you used to wearing non-macho clothing. You know, by wearing blouses, you might encourage some of those tough guys to wear something different, something more comfortable and less macho, replied Gail. Eric trusted Gail, so he agreed to wear the thinner and more feminine blouses. Today's blouse was light blue and actually looked quite nice on Eric. Eric was still a bit hesitant about wearing it, so he kept his blazer on, but even with the blazer on, it was obvious that Eric was wearing a quite feminine blouse. Eric saw his reflection in his office window and it sent a tingle down his spine. Secretly, he admired what he saw, a softer man. It seemed that the load of his stress was already beginning to get lighter. Midweek, just after lunch, the office fire alarm sounded. Eric ran outside, along with his employees. Smoke was rising from the roof. The fire department arrived, checked out the cause of the smoke and determined that the air conditioning system shorted out. Everyone was allowed back inside. In an hour or so, without the air conditioning on, it became quite warm inside. By 3 o'clock, it was so warm Eric could no longer wear his blazer. With his blazer removed, his feminine blouse was now visible to everyone as they passed his office. No more hiding what he was wearing. It was time to face the music. Carol, walking by Eric's office, couldn't help but notice that he was wearing a pretty blouse. She knocked on his door and entered. I just wanted to say that I think your blouse is so pretty. Where did your wife find it? Eric blushed, then answered, actually, and did not buy it. I did. During Terry's transition, I noticed that she was becoming more relaxed and gentler with each change in her appearance. I thought that if I shed some of my macho image, I might be an example to the other guys and we could reduce some of the stress around here. So, back to your question about where Anne bought this blouse, she doesn't even know that I'm wearing this right now. You know that she comes from a very conservative and religious background, so I have to warm her up to this very slowly, replied Eric. My lips are sealed, said Carol. Eric was not about to tell Carol that because of stress, his doctor suggested that crossdressing is something he should pursue. He wasn't bold enough yet about his decision to let others know about the path upon which he had embarked. So, for now, Eric was willing to let them think that he was merely interested in changing the office atmosphere a bit. Once Eric was seen, by his employees, wearing a blouse without a blazer, there was no more point in hiding that he was wearing blouses. Besides, with the warmer weather, it would now be uncomfortable wearing a blazer. One day, as Gail met Eric early at work, she pulled a small box out of her purse. "Eric, I have a small accessory for you to wear with your blouses." Gail handed him a lovely gold necklace. She suggested that with the more open collar blouses, a necklace would be a nice feminine touch. As she opened Eric's blouse one extra button, she noticed that he had no chest hair. "Oh, this will look perfect. It looks so divine, kind of sexy," giggled Gail. Eric questioned whether this would give him too feminine a look. Gail reminded him that his ultimate goal was to dress completely feminine and that a gold necklace was a less drastic way of adding femininity to his appearance, until the staff got used to his new appearance, than most anything else he could add at the moment. Eric agreed, so this would be his first day wearing a blouse and necklace. John was the first employee to see Eric with his new necklace. He stepped into Eric's office and commented, "That necklace is a nice touch. When I saw you wearing a blouse last week, without a necklace, I thought it looked a bit plain. In fact, a matching bracelet would look really good." Eric couldn't wait until he saw Gail again at lunch, so he called her into his office to tell her what John had said. Gail replied, "It seems that John has good taste. I wanted to suggest that this morning, but I didn't want to spook you. With the suggestion coming from a guy, I know you'll feel more comfortable wearing a bracelet. Actually, I bought a necklace and bracelet, but I held on to the bracelet until I thought you were ready for it. Let's go with just the necklace for a couple of weeks, then we'll add the bracelet." For the remainder of the week, with each new blouse, Eric was now seen sporting a gold necklace. Friday was their customary night for dining out, after work. It had been several weeks since Eric wore his first blouse out for dinner, and had not mentioned anything about him not wearing his blouse again, but Eric did not forget Anne's comments. He purposely did not wear a blouse again the following Friday, as Anne suggested, because he thought that it might be pushing his secret plan and may become suspicious. This weekend, he decided that it was time to surprise his wife again. After all, she requested that he wear a blouse, so he didn't have to worry about how she would react if he wore a blouse. Eric confided in Gail that he thought it was time again to wear a blouse for dinner with his wife. Gail agreed. She went to her office and got a nice, soft yellow blouse. Gail suggested that Eric wear his necklace with the blouse. He was a bit hesitant, but decided that if Anne didn't bite his head off for wearing a blouse, maybe she would be okay with him also wearing a necklace. On the way home, Eric was thinking what explanation he would give his wife as to why he was wearing a different blouse, not the same, and supposedly only, blouse he had. As he entered the house, and caught a quick glimpse of him from the kitchen, where she was fixing some iced tea for them. "Hi, honey. How was your day? Is that a new shirt you're wearing?" she called to him. "Come here and let me see." Eric kicked off his shoes and strolled into the kitchen, trying to act cool. "Oh, a new blouse. I thought you only had one blouse and you would wear that one again, sometime, for dinner. But this is a pleasant surprise, a new blouse, and a much nicer blouse. Where did you get it? I can't wait to cuddle up to that," remarked Anne. Eric told his wife that he stopped at the thrift store where Gail had bought him the other blouse. He explained, to Anne, that he told the sales clerk about him wearing a blouse home one day and how his wife liked the soft texture better than his other shirts. He told Anne that the sales clerk offered to find him a blouse, but a bit nicer than that last one Gail got for him, and assured him that his wife would like it. Okay, so this was a little off from the whole truth, but now was not the time to go into unnecessary details as to how he really got the blouse or that he was wearing blouses on a daily basis at work. Eric was pleased with the reception and reaction he got from his wife, but it puzzled him that she made no mention of the gold necklace that he was wearing. After relaxing, each with a cold iced tea, and suggested that it was time to go out for dinner and a movie. Wearing a feminine blouse at the office, where the staff had gone through a previous employee's transition, was one thing, but wearing a feminine blouse out in public, especially without a blazer, was another thing. Eric desperately wanted to go out to dinner with his new blouse, but he had to play up the fear factor a bit, so as not to arouse Anne's suspicions. "Honey, I know you enjoyed cuddling against a softer material last time we went to the movies, but I don't think I can wear this blouse out to a restaurant. At the movies, where it's dark, is one thing, but in a restaurant I don't know," pleaded Eric. "And why not? Many gay men dress that way all the time. The public doesn't stone them. They're used to seeing different styles of clothing on people." "Don't be a baby," answered Anne meekly. Eric replied, "Well, I'm not gay and I certainly don't want people looking at us, giving you weird glances because they think you're out with a gay man." "Oh, boo! Who cares what anyone thinks? I know you're not gay. If you like it, if I like it, if it makes us happy, let them think what they want. Besides, that gold necklace gives you a bit of a femmy touch. Maybe folks will think that I prefer my man to look a bit effeminate, instead of like a lumberjack," retorted Anne. Wow, Eric thought that his wife had missed the necklace. What was he thinking? Women never miss gold or diamonds. He should have known better. Eric relented. Okay, if you think it's okay and you're not embarrassed, I'll wear this blouse." Just before heading out the door, Anne gave Eric a quick, unexpected spritz of Charlie. "Why did you do that?" asked Eric. "Oh, I just thought that as good as you look, you should smell the part," replied Anne. Dinner at the firehouse was excellent, as usual. The waiters hovered near their tables, never leaving them in want of anything. The food was superb. Eric wondered whether they were getting better service because of what he was wearing. Were any of these waiters gay, and thus interested in him? Some of the waiters were rather cute. Why would they be interested in him? Thought Eric. Dinner over, it was time for the movies. Eric wasn't that interested in the movie. His wife was so cuddly with him that his mind was on the night ahead, not the movie. If wearing blouses was something his wife did not object to, even enjoyed, then maybe his plan had a chance. During the entire movie, Anne cuddled and caressed Eric like a teenage girl out on her first date. The night at home turned out even better, a night of deep passion. Eric was quite happy with the progress of his plan. He had come from a very macho stereotype to a guy now wearing blouses out for dinner with his wife and, unknown to his wife, at work. She even thought that his necklace added a femmy touch to his appearance. But why would his wife enjoy seeing him in a softer, feminine mode? Maybe it's like Gail said, women appreciate softer, gentler men because they are more sensitive and thus more open to their spouse's needs. If it makes her happy, that's good enough for me, Eric rationalized. As had become custom by now, Gail greeted Eric early in the office. She had a very nice blouse waiting for Eric. While Eric was changing into his blouse, he told her all about his weekend and Anne's reaction to the more feminine blouse and necklace. When he told her that and even sprayed some Charlie perfume on him before going out, Gail squealed, "Eric, you've won the battle, now don't mess up winning the war. Following your doctor's orders may not be an ordeal after all. It may just turn out to be the best time of your life. Eric, let's try adding something new this week." With those comments, Gail grabbed a pair of tweezers out of her purse. "With such a nice blouse, it would be more becoming if your eyebrows looked nicer." "Let me give them a soft feminine shape," offered Gail. Gail then proceeded to pluck Eric's eyebrows, shaping them to a much nicer appearance than the manly caterpillars he was sporting before. Gail handed Eric her pocket mirror. "How does that look?" she questioned. "Oh my, people are going to notice, but I love the new look," replied Eric. Gail assured Eric that most people don't readily notice such things as trimmed eyebrows. She told Eric that the eye sees what the mind expects. If a person is dressed in a somewhat feminine manner, then the mind expects to see a somewhat feminine face, so, to the eyes, nothing is out of place. Eric thought this was a reasonable explanation, but just in case his wife questioned him about it, he knew he would have to think of another bogus explanation. As for the office staff, only Carol commented to him about his eyebrows, telling him that he was starting to look less and less like a caveman. Before going home that day, Gail suggested that Eric not mention anything about his eyebrows to his wife. Gail said that he should wait to see whether and would make any comments about them. On the way home, Eric stopped for a haircut. That put a thought into Eric's mind. If his wife noticed his trimmed eyebrows and questioned him about it, he would tell her that his hairdresser decided it was time to trim those unsightly brows and get them looking more civilized. Who could argue with that? Dinner was uneventful. And then Eric discussed the day's events and made plans for the long weekend, planning to go to Las Vegas. At the end of a busy day, as they were getting ready to go to sleep, and commented, "My mind was so preoccupied with work and thinking about the weekend, I didn't even mention that I think your eyebrows look a lot nicer. How did your hairdresser convince you to let her trim them? I've been wishing for years that you would clean them up, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want you to feel pressured into trimming them, but I'm so glad that your eyebrows finally look nice. You'll look a lot nicer come this weekend when we go to Las Vegas." Thanks. Eric couldn't wait to see Gail at work and tell her about Anne's reaction to his trimmed eyebrows. Gail replied, "I think your wife sees the potential in you to make a real gentleman out of you. And I'm betting that she notices that when you're wearing something nicer, you're also more relaxed, not as much of a tough guy. I think we can add that bracelet this week to your office attire." Eric was happy. Even though it was under his doctor's orders that he was starting this journey towards crossdressing, deep inside, it gave him a tranquil and satisfied feeling. The staff at Eric's office was now accustomed to seeing him wearing shirt blouses and a gold necklace. With the addition of a gold bracelet and his trimmed eyebrows, he got several comments. As usual, Carol was the first to mention it. As she passed Eric coming out of the copier room, she commented, "I didn't want to say anything earlier, but now that your eyebrows are trimmed, may I take the liberty to say that the old brows didn't match your shirt blouses and lovely gold necklace. Whoever is working on your appearance, tell them they are doing a good job." Carol didn't want to lay it on too thick, so she called his blouse a shirt blouse. Carol felt that using too many feminine descriptors for his new attire and accessories might embarrass him, and she kind of liked the new, softer Eric, who was developing. It seemed that since his change in clothing, he was nicer to the staff. The stress didn't seem to be getting to him as much as before, so why ruin a good thing? In parting, Carol added, "Oh, the bracelet is a great match with your necklace. I think it's pretty." Other employees, upon seeing Eric, now also wearing a bracelet, simply smiled as they passed him or talked to him about their cases, not making any comments about it. Yes, Terry's transition must have desensitized them, so they no longer were surprised if they saw a man wearing something less macho, even feminine. So, the week progressed, with Eric wearing a new blouse every day, along with his necklace and bracelet, and looking quite nice, or more accurate, effeminate, with his trimmed and shaped eyebrows. The weekend had arrived. It was time to pack for Las Vegas. Eric got home before Anne did, so he packed his suitcase. Soon, Anne arrived. Women being better planners than men, Anne had packed a little of her suitcase each day during the week. Unknown to Eric, she found the 2 blouses Eric had worn on their dinner dates and packed them in her suitcase. She wanted to tell Eric to pack them, but she was afraid that he might be hesitant to do so, so she packed them. With the blouses packed in her suitcase, she would be sure that she would have them available for Eric to wear in Las Vegas. All she had to do was convince him to wear the blouses once they were in Vegas. Yes, she liked the soft material when cuddling Eric, but she also had some other unexplainable attraction to having him wear blouses. Before they left the house, Anne looked and found Eric's necklace lying on the dresser. She picked it up and walked towards the door, where Eric was waiting. She leaned over to kiss Eric, and while doing so, she slipped the necklace around his neck. Eric seemed a bit surprised, and his raised eyebrows signaled his feelings too. And wear it for good luck and for me, she begged, and out the door they went. After arriving at McCarran International in Las Vegas, and Eric got onto the shuttle for the car rental agency. Once they had obtained their car for the weekend, and suggested that they go shopping for some casual clothes at Macy's, and spotted some lovely blouses. She bought several for her and some for Eric. Eric just assumed that the blouses were for her. When they arrived at the hotel and laid out their new cache of clothes, there were some shorts and tank tops for Eric and several blouses. She laid each in a pile, one pile on her side of the bed and one on his side. After placing Eric's new shorts on the bed, she added 3 blouses to his pile. "What are these doing on my pile?" questioned Eric as he pointed to the blouses. And replied, "Honey, you look so nice in your 2 blouses that you've worn at home, I didn't think it would hurt for you to have a few more blouses. Besides, this is a very open-minded town, so I thought you could wear them while we are here relaxing. Would you mind? I was fortunate to find some nice blouses for you, but if I had not, I had your old blouses packed. I'd really love for you to look sexy and trendy while we're in Las Vegas, so please be a sport and wear them this weekend." Wow, and was sure good at planning ahead. But what was the comment about him looking sexy and trendy wearing a blouse, thought Eric. Didn't she tell him that she liked the blouses because they were softer? Now, she's telling him that he looks sexy and trendy wearing a blouse. Eric couldn't explain it, but he was pleasantly surprised by his wife's attitude. What other surprises did she have in store for him? Thought Eric. They were only spending 3 days in Las Vegas. Clearly, it seemed that she expected him to wear a blouse each day of the weekend. Eric didn't want to tip his hand that he was thrilled she asked him to wear blouses for the weekend, so he offered a feeble objection, but deep inside, he relished the opportunity to wear something feminine. Eric especially enjoyed that his wife was seeing him wear the blouses, unlike him wearing blouses at work, without her knowing it. In the afternoon, and Eric decided to visit the pawn shop of TV's Pawn Stars, and couldn't believe the huge selection of jewelry. While she checked out the jewelry, Eric was looking at old guns and coins, and spotted a lovely gold bracelet. She didn't know why, but immediately, she thought that she should buy it for Eric. She thought that it would match perfectly with his gold necklace. They met at the door, ready to return to their car. Eric showed in some old coins he had purchased, and then pulled out the bracelet. "I thought this would be a good investment, especially with the uncertain economic times," commented, "and it looks expensive." "It will look nice on you," replied Eric. "It is expensive, but nothing is too good for my dear husband." "It's for you," said an astonished Eric muttered. "That's for me?" "Yes, dear. Give me your hand so I can slip it on." Eric stretched out his hand and fastened the bracelet around his wrist. "Oh, it looks darling," squealed Anne. "Do you like it?" Eric didn't know how much exuberance he should display, so he simply answered, "It's nice." The bracelet looked absolutely lovely around Eric's wrist, but it also added a touch more femininity to his appearance. "Are you sure that you want me to wear this?" questioned Eric. "Yes, dear, it looks perfect with your blouse and necklace. Besides, we have one more stop to make. It will be quite cool in the evening, so when we go to see Phantom of the Opera, you will need a jacket. Besides, a jacket is proper for the evening show." Eric agreed, and they went to several stores. At one store, and found a nice blazer, which she thought would fit Eric perfectly. It was a woman's blazer, but it would be a good match for the blouses she bought him earlier. When she showed Eric the jacket she had selected, Eric pointed out that it was a woman's blazer as if she didn't know that. "Yes, dear, it's a blazer, but it will look so nice with your blouse and jewelry. So, stop your complaining. Humor me and go along with the program. This is our anything goes weekend. Try to remember the look I want you to have is sexy and trendy. just as they were ready to leave the store, and spotted a nice pair of slacks. They looked perfect for Eric. How could she let Eric wear a blouse, jewelry, and manicured nails and go in men's jeans? That would be tacky. Eric did not yet know that manicured nails were on the list of what Anne had planned for him. Eric, stop. I have to grab something else. Eric turned around and joined his wife, and took 3 pairs of slacks off the rack, each in a different color, and handed them to Eric. Go to that dressing room and try them on and let me know which pair fits, instructed Anne. Why do I need these? Questioned Eric. Think about it. Tonight you'll be wearing a blouse and blazer, with gold jewelry, not to mention your shaped eyebrows. How do you think you will look? Do you think that you will portray the same macho image that you display at home? With men's jeans, you would look rather dorky, out of place. Trust me, it's better to look effeminate, gay, if you please, by wearing the women's slacks with your blouse and blazer, than looking half effeminate and half macho. So, no more of your tough guy arguments. Go try on the slacks, Anne answered. While Eric was trying on the slacks, Anne made a quick trip to the lingerie section and picked out a half-dozen panties in various colors, not for her, but for Eric. She quickly paid for them and concealed them in her handbag. When Eric returned from the dressing room, he informed Anne that all 3 slacks fit. Good, then we'll buy all 3, said Anne. By now, Eric knew better than to argue with his wife. Besides, with a little quick math, he figured out that she wanted him to have 3 pairs of slacks because they would be spending 3 days in Las Vegas. He was so brilliant. How could he be this lucky? This was turning out to be a better weekend than he expected or could have planned. In the evening, Anne and Eric had planned to see the Phantom of the Opera, so Anne wanted to get a manicure and pedicure. She asked Eric whether he would mind waiting for her at the salon. Eric agreed, so they looked for a beauty salon. A welcome sign indicated, "No appointment necessary." Soon, Anne found herself in a chair, getting a pedicure. Eric sat patiently. There were no magazines for men, so he picked up a woman's magazine and thumbed through it. He found some very trendy unisex hairstyles. While looking at the magazine, a voice interrupted, "Sir, would you like a manicure while waiting on your wife? And how about a hairstyling?" Eric was startled. He looked over at Anne with a puzzled look like a little child, waiting for permission from an adult, and smiled and nodded her head in the affirmative. Eric responded to the beautician that he would like a manicure and hairstyling. The beautician filed Eric's nails, then buffed them to a nice shine. Eric wasn't used to all this. When Eric did his nails, he simply cut them with a nail clipper. Done. This lady was spending a lot of time doing his nails. Just as Eric thought that she was done, she picked up a bottle of clear polish and coated his nails. "Nail strengthener," she commented. Before Eric could object, all his nails were coated. Anne was watching and noticed Eric's surprise. She simply smiled at him. Well, Eric now had polished and shaped nails, a gold necklace and bracelet. That would give him a suitable feminine look, combined with blouse, women's slacks and blazer. And told Eric that the hairstyling he got had quite a feminine look and that it went well with his feminine clothes. Dressed up for the show tonight, Eric would look quite fashionably femme. And then Eric returned to their motel to get spruced up for their evening out. While Eric was in the shower, and laid out one of the new pair of slacks, a blouse, and the blazer, and watched as Eric got dressed. My, it seems that my lovely husband had finally caught up with the times, instead of looking like a lumberjack, remarked Anne. With his new look, Eric looked like a well-kept man, if though effeminate. But this was Las Vegas and what happens in Las Vegas. Yeah. No one else will ever know. As she had done once before, and snuck a quick shot of Charlie onto Eric's neck and chest. And then Eric enjoyed a wonderful dinner at the Venetian and then headed to the show. The line was short and soon they were on the way into the theater. The lights were already dimmed, so they slowly made their way to their seats. As they slid into their seats, they looked around and to their great surprise, even shock, they saw a couple from their church at home. Mark and Janie Hall had been their friends for a long time. They knew each other very well, but Mark and Janie had not known about Eric's recent changes in attire, and here he was in a blouse, women's slacks, gold necklace, gold bracelet, polished nails, a woman's blazer and a somewhat feminine hairstyle. Wow, the intermission, when the lights were turned up, would be an interesting moment. Eric felt like leaving, but he also felt feminine, thinking that Mark and Janie would be seeing him in his new effeminate style. Eric got that warm, satisfied feeling in his soul again. No, he would not leave. He wanted the Halls, their best friends, to see him. Deep inside, he felt like this was the person he felt himself to be, and he wanted his best friends, and the world, to see him that way. If his wife only knew how he felt. He felt like a kid, showing off his new bicycle, the day after Christmas. The show was worth the price of admission and then some. And cuddled Eric, just like at the movies, at home, but this time, she added something else. She gently took Eric's necklace between her fingers and played with his necklace, then traced her finger along his neck. Then she slipped her hand over his blouse and caressed his chest, finally placing her hand under his blouse for more caressing. Eric had never enjoyed such affectionate attention outside of their home. If this is what the new clothes, yes, the femme clothes got him, then he was ready for more. Finally, and took Eric's hand and caressed his fingers, then gently rubbing her fingertips over Eric's nails. As she did so, she whispered into his ears, "I love the feel of your smooth nails. They feel and look much nicer than before, especially when you have hangnails. You should get your nails done more often. I'll have to make sure that you let your nails grow out more, for a bit more feminine look. They would really look good in red." Eric found it difficult to process all of the recent changes, especially Anne's approval. He certainly never expected such a reaction from her. His thoughts crowded out the music, so he missed a good part of the opera. Darn shame. And now, the moment of truth. It was intermission time and the lights were coming up. In a moment, Mark and Janie would see the new Eric. Eric's stomach was tightening up. What would his best friends think of his new appearance, his quite feminine appearance? Okay, it's time to face the music. Pretending that she had nothing to hide, and turned first and greeted Mark and Janie. "So nice to see you. Are you two enjoying the show?" remarked, and Janie replied, "Yes, we are. It's so nice to see you. We thought that we might meet someone we know at this show, but to see you is a special treat. And look at how nice you got Eric to clean up for you, for this show. How did you ever manage that? He looks so sweet. Sometimes I think that a softer appearance would do Mark some good. Eric looks so adorable. You'll have to tell me later where you bought him that lovely blouse. And the nails, I love that his nails are manicured nice. They look better than mine. Did you do them for Eric?" The men didn't want to talk over the women, as the women were sitting next to each other, so they just looked at each other and smiled. Eric could feel the blood rushing into his face. Although Eric wanted to be seen in his feminine mode, he was, nevertheless, quite embarrassed that Mark should see him like this, not to mention that he thinks that he heard Janie telling Anne that she loves his manicured nails. This is not the reaction he expected from the Halls because they always appeared to be so conservative. Apparently, away from their hometown, the Halls felt free to express themselves. It seems that they are not as prudish as they appear at home. As the lights were starting to dim again and everyone took their seats, Eric turned to Anne and whispered, "Well, that's the last people I wanted to run into this weekend. I know they're our best friends, but what do you think they are thinking of us right now?" And replied, "Honey, I think that, just as us, the Halls have seen a lot more than you give them credit for. They may have been a bit surprised, but I don't think that it shocked them. Janie seemed very sincere when she said that you looked nice and that she wished she could get Mark looking a bit nicer. And I think she was jealous of your nails. I think that nice nails add a lot to a person's appearance. The manicured nails make your hands look slender, more feminine. Both couples already had other plans after the show, so they said their goodbyes and parted ways. The Halls went to the Bellagio for dinner, while Ann and Eric drove up and down the strip a few times, just to enjoy the people and sights. They stopped to see the Pirates of the Caribbean show, the dancing fountains and the Fremont Street experience. They topped off the night with a hair-raising roller coaster ride on top of the Stratosphere Casino. When they got back to their motel, Ann and Eric discussed the events of the day. Eric wondered what Mark is probably thinking about him after seeing him in such a different mode and apparent effeminate mode, and assured Eric that he was probably not the first person, nor the last, whom Mark saw in a different than normal mode. And added, "You may just have given Janie the idea to encourage Mark to get in touch with a bit of his feminine side, and if she does so, you may have given Mark the courage to do so. You know the old saying, men need to get in touch with their feminine side." Eric remarked, "Well, at least he didn't make any negative comments about how I looked. He just sort of looked a bit surprised, but he tried to hide his feelings." "Maybe it wasn't a feeling of surprise. Maybe it was jealousy," retorted Ann. For their second day, Ann again laid out Eric's clothes. But this time, there was an additional item with the clothes. Lying on top of the pile was a pair of panties. Eric thought that Ann must have accidentally dropped them on his pile, so he moved them over to her side of the bed. When Eric was finished shaving, he turned to see that the panties were again on his side. Just then, Ann returned to the bedroom. "Oh honey, I put those panties out for you. I noticed yesterday that because the slacks are a thinner material, your jockey shorts made quite a visible outline. It looked a bit tacky. I hope that no one else noticed, but I'm not taking that chance again, so please wear the panties. Panties are much thinner and won't show through the slacks. Besides, they are more comfortable, cooler, and you will love how they feel," informed and hesitantly, Eric put on the panties, before grabbing the new slacks. Not only were the panties not visible through the slacks, they were more comfortable and felt cooler, as Ann had promised. Just as they were ready to leave, Ann noticed that Eric had some blemishes on his face. "Hold still," she instructed, and reached into her purse and pulled out some cover-up. She dabbed some over the blemishes. When she looked at the results, she noticed that the blemishes were covered, but now Eric's face was two-tone. Quickly, she dabbed the cover-up over his entire face. When she was done, Eric's face looked much better. His face looked smoother, with a warm glow to it. "All right, now we're ready," announced Ann. They headed out for the strip. Today it would be more sightseeing, a visit to see the lions at the MGM, lunch at the Hash House inside the Imperial Palace, the Auto Museum at the Venetian, dinner at Tony Roma's, and then the Penn and Teller show. After dinner, Ann and Eric made a quick stop at the motel, before heading out for the evening show. It was getting cooler for the evening, so Ann suggested that Eric wear his blazer. After Ann changed, she asked to look at Eric's nails. "Oh dear, you scratched your nails, probably on the roller coaster ride the other night. Here, let me touch them up," and had Eric sit down at the vanity and got out a bottle of her nail polish, and put a new coat of polish on Eric's nails. "All set," she announced. "Give them a minute to dry before you use the restroom," added, and Eric waited a few minutes, then used the restroom. As he was washing his hands, he noticed that his nails had a slight reddish hue. "And I noticed that my nails are colored. I thought you were putting on a clear coat of polish," inquired Eric. "Well dear, I didn't bring my clear polish. I guess tonight you and I will have the same color nails. I don't think they are so noticeable that anyone will really notice. If they see your nails looking shiny, they will just think that you had a manicure. A lot of men get manicures. It makes you look high class," responded Ann. Another quick dab of cover-up over Eric's face and they were heading out the door. Penn and Teller were great, and Eric really enjoyed the show. After the show, they walked down the strip, stopping again to see the fountains at the Bellagio, then they got a late-night snack, some ice cream, at Baskin-Robbins. As they were sitting at the outside patio, enjoying their ice cream, Eric noticed a gay couple sitting nearby. It was apparent that they were gay, because of the affection they displayed towards each other. One guy looked quite macho, but the other had a very feminine look. His actions were totally that of a woman, so refined, so delicate, nothing rough and tough about him. Eric studied his appearance and secretly wished that he could look like him. He was wearing a blouse and blazer, women's slacks and wedge heels, with considerable cover-up, a touch of blush, light mascara, and polished nails in a light mauve color. Eric wasn't sure whether he also detected a shimmer of matching gloss on his lips. Just before he turned his attention away from the couple, something else caught his eye. Eric thought he detected the outline of a bra under the effeminate man's blouse. That immediately caused a stir in Eric's soul. The bra, to Eric, displayed femininity as few other things could, and asked Eric what caught his attention. Eric nodded towards the couple, and looked in the direction of the couple, and commented, "Oh, I see. What a lovely couple. Eric, do you see how nicely that man is dressed? His clothes look expensive. It looks like his partner enjoys keeping him in classy clothes. Any woman would love to have clothes that expensive. In fact, he looks better in those clothes than many women would look. He has a very nice feminine look, kind of sexy too. And did you notice? His nails have more color than yours and his lip gloss matches his nail color. He looks so cute, so sexy. If he were not effeminately dressed, he wouldn't look nearly as nice." With their scrutiny over, and Eric returned to finishing their ice cream. As they left Baskin-Robbins, and teasingly remarked, "I know what's got you ruffled. You're jealous that another man is dressed nicer than you. Are you jealous that he's also wearing a bra?" Wow, Eric did not think that and had noticed that. The sun was in her eyes, and even without being half blinded by the sun, as was he barely noticed the man's bra. And must have better eyesight than an eagle, thought Eric. Eric muttered, "Why would I be jealous that he is wearing a bra?" Well, dear, a bra is an item of true femininity. Dressed as he is, I'm sure that the bra gives him the assurance that he has a feminine persona, matching his outward feminine appearance. He looked very confident and happy. "We'll see what we can do for you tomorrow," stated, and Eric blushed. "And I think you've done quite a number with your old husband." "I don't think I need any more improvements," retorted Eric. "Oh, Eric, did you forget that I said that this is our anything goes weekend? Don't be such a pill. How often do we come to Las Vegas, or go anywhere, for that matter, to just let go? You need to live a little, to unwind from some of the work stress." "No, I haven't done enough. I saw you, looking closely at the femininely dressed guy. You thought that I missed what you saw. What I didn't miss was the longing look of desire I saw in your eyes," and remarked. Eric responded, "Are you sure that you aren't reading something into my expression? Why would I be jealous of a guy wearing a bra? Because I think it's so sexy for a guy to have the courage to wear a bra, and sometimes, regardless of what you think, you lack the courage to truly express yourself," quipped, "and I think that's one more item we need to add to your attire. I bet you would feel real sexy wearing a bra," concluded, and Eric felt a bit uncomfortable, thinking that if people saw the gay couple, then looked at him, they may think that he too was gay, but why, he was with his wife. He shared his feelings with Anne lovingly and assured him, "Honey, I know you're not gay, and so do you. You can still be a manly man when dressed in drab mode, but if you want to enjoy the femme mode for some time, there's nothing wrong with looking as feminine as you wish. You need to be more flexible and expand your horizons. I happen to think that you look very cute when dressed in a femme mode." Those comments gave Eric a lot to think about. It was a bright, sunny morning in Las Vegas. Today would be a day just for gambling, and Eric would try their luck at the various casinos on the Strip. For today, and laid out a nice multicolor blouse for Eric, almost matching hers, one of the new pair of women's slacks and pink panties, and wanted to see Eric's reaction to wearing something with a very feminine color. When Eric saw the pink panties, he was a bit embarrassed. "Honey, if you insist that I wear panties, do you at least have a pair in white?" questioned Eric. "Not in your size, so just put those on." "No one will see what color they are," replied, and Eric put up no other fuss and slipped on the pink panties, then the slacks, as the previous day, and put some cover-up on Eric's face. Eric didn't know it, but Anne had some lipstick on her fingers. Pretending to check his face, she lightly ran her fingers across his cheekbones. This added a bit of a light blush to Eric's face, and thought it looked nice, although a bit femme. Eric didn't know what she had done because he didn't look in the mirror before they left. Once out of the hotel, they headed over to the garage to pick up their rental car. The attendant greeted them and asked, "Ladies, may I have your claim check, please?" Eric blushed, then handed the claim check to him. Eric wondered why the attendant addressed him as a woman. Little did Eric realize that with the blush, he had quite a cute, feminine look. His hair still had the somewhat feminine style, so it added to his overall feminine appearance. While the attendant was retrieving their car, Eric said, "And, did you notice that he addressed me as a woman?" "Why?" And replied, "Well, dear, you're with a woman, so he doesn't think you're gay, so what's left? You have a very soft-looking face. About all you're missing, for your face to look totally like a woman, is some blush, mascara, eyeliner, and lipstick. Maybe we can try that for the evening show." "Yeah, sure. Would you go out with me looking like that?" questioned Eric. "If I could get you looking as sexy as the guy we saw earlier, I would," remarked Anne. The car arrived, so Anne and Eric headed for the strip. After gambling for the morning, they stopped for lunch. "Good afternoon, ladies. Table for two?" greeted the hostess. As soon as they were seated, Eric pointed out that another person had now addressed him as a woman, and told him that in Las Vegas, people are more accustomed to seeing a variety of folks, so if they saw someone who looked feminine, they addressed them as such. "What do you mean, I look feminine? I didn't get these comments yesterday," questioned Eric. Before Anne could reply, Eric excused himself to go to the restroom. As soon as he saw himself in the mirror, he understood why he was being addressed as a woman. Besides the cover-up, Anne had put blush on his cheeks. But when did she do that? Yes, he did appear quite feminine. Eric thought about washing his face, but was afraid to get his blouse stained. When he returned to the table, Eric stated, "Okay, I see what you did to me. Why didn't you tell me?" And replied, "I wanted you to see that it doesn't take much for your appearance to change from a guy to a woman, and that if you looked feminine, no one would stone you. With those unsightly eyebrows gone and a bit of cover-up and blush, your face looks quite soft, yes, feminine. And with those lovely nails, you present quite a different image than you do at home." Eric could only reply, "Well, I'm glad Mark and Janie aren't here right now." After lunch, Anne and Eric decided to do some more shopping, and had some thoughts in mind, thoughts about how she could get Eric to feel and look more feminine, so that his thoughts matched his appearance. In a shoe store, she spotted some wedge heels. She thought that a matching pair, for her and for Eric, would be fun. She picked up the heels and went to a bench to sit down so she could try them on. Eric wondered why she needed two pair looking the same. Little did he notice that one pair was 2 sizes larger. As Eric sat next to her and tried on the shoes. "Oh, these are too large, can you please hand me the other shoes?" Anne requested. Eric gave her the shoes. As she was trying on the shoes, Anne looked at Eric and said, "How do you like these shoes?" Eric said that they looked trendy. "Good, I'm glad you like them. Why don't you try on the other pair?" Eric objected, saying, "Why do I need heels?" And reminded him that 2 people had now addressed him as a woman and that if he wore heels, it would fit his image better. The shoes were a perfect fit, so Anne bought both pair. And also grabbed several pair of pantyhose in 2 sizes. With their purchases complete, they headed out for some more gambling and some more window shopping at some pawn shops. It was time to return to the motel and get ready for dinner and their final show. Anne had already decided which show they would see, but she did not mention it to Eric. Eric jumped into the shower, while Anne looked through their clothes. She decided that Eric would look good in a red blouse with black slacks, black pantyhose and the heels. She laid out his clothes, along with red panties, on his side of the bed. When she grabbed her clothes and lingerie from her suitcase, and didn't notice that a couple of bras were snagged. As she moved from her suitcase to the bed, one bra dropped from the lingerie she was holding and landed on Eric's clothes. Next, she laid out her lingerie, blouse, skirt, and nylons on her side. As Eric was showering and told him to shave his arms and legs, a loud howl was heard. "Why?" And replied, "Don't argue with me and don't panic. Remember, we're in Las Vegas, just do it." As Eric stepped out of the shower and was shaving his face, and passed him on her way to the shower, saying, "I've laid out your clothes. Get them on while I'm in the shower and I'll see what we can do to that person people are addressing as a woman." Eric felt a little flustered, but at the same time he was excited. He looked at the clothes. What was this? Besides the panties that Anne had him wear the last 2 days, there was a bra. By now, Eric knew better than to argue. And yes, this was Las Vegas and what happens in Las Vegas. Eric grabbed the bra and carefully slipped it on. He had seen that sometimes Anne would put on her bra, sort of backwards, fasten the hooks, then turn it around, so he did the same. Next he put on the red panties, red blouse, black pantyhose and black slacks. Just then, Anne stepped out of the shower. "Oh Eric, nice touch. I see that you even thought of wearing a bra today. I'll just have to add a bit extra to the cover-up when I do your face," commented Anne. "What do you mean?" "You laid the bra on my clothes, so I figured that you wanted me to wear it," replied Eric. And explained that she must have picked up more than one bra from her suitcase and that one dropped while she was laying out his clothes. "But Eric, dear, now that you've got it on, I must say that it will add to a more convincing image as a woman. But instead of this sheer bra, let me swap it for one of my padded bras. As long as you are wearing a bra, you might as well wear a bra that gives you a more convincing feminine appearance." With that comment and no objection from Eric, and got him one of her red padded bras and helped him to put it on. "Would you like it hooked in the first set of hooks or the third?" "If I hook it in the third set of hooks, the bra will give you a tighter fit, reminding you that you're wearing a bra. I think that feeling will make you more confident in feeling feminine," suggested Anne, and Eric were almost ready to leave when Anne remembered that she thought that Eric should wear the pantyhose to enhance his feminine feeling. "Honey, you're going to have to take your slacks off for a minute. I forgot to lay out something else for you." And reached over to her pile of clothes and looked for the pantyhose. "Oh, I see you found the pantyhose. How sweet. Well, there's no point in wearing pantyhose with slacks, so please take off the slacks while I find you something more appropriate to wear," said Anne, and went to the closet and selected one of her short black shirts and a red sweater. She returned to the bed, where Eric was sitting. "Those pantyhose give your tummy a nicer shape. This skirt and sweater will look much better than slacks and blouse," said Anne. At this point, Eric didn't question her any further or resist, and gave him a visual check to see how he looked. "You look adorable, so feminine, and might I add, sexy. That sweater really gives you a nice shape. Here, slip into these wedge heels and after I do your makeup, we're ready to hit the strip. Let's have some fun tonight. It's time for you to enjoy a new experience, even if only for an evening," offered Anne, and got out her makeup and asked Eric to sit down at the vanity. Carefully, she applied some cover-up and foundation to his face. Next, she added some blush. Eric thought she was done, but she told him to sit still, and took her mascara and applied it to Eric's lashes. Next, she added some eyeliner. What a dramatic difference! But she wasn't done yet. Okay, dear, before you look into the mirror, please put your lips together. Carefully, and added a lightly colored red lip gloss to his lips. Now you may look. Eric couldn't believe how feminine he looked. He didn't even recognize his face. No one else would ever know it was really Eric they were looking at. His wife was really good with the makeup. As a final touch, and got out some red nail polish and gave his nails a new coating. What do you think, dear? Asked Anne. You're quite good, dear. Maybe you should be a beautician, replied Eric. And finished getting her makeup done, then announced that she was almost ready to go, and said she had a couple more touches to add to Eric before heading out. She got out her hairbrush and brushed Eric's hair so it freshened up the hairstyle he got at the salon when he had his nails manicured. When she was done, his hair had quite a feminine style again. And smiled, only one thing missing. With the necklace, bracelet and makeup, you need these, suggested Anne as she took a pair of earrings out of her purse and clipped them to Eric's ears. And added, oh, you look so divine. Even without foundation garments, you have a great figure. No one would ever guess that you're not a woman. As a reward for being such a good sport, you may borrow my extra purse for the evening and oh, with that skirt and those heels you look quite fashionable. Ready to go, Erica? Eric smiled. Yes, I'm ready. And what show did Anne have lined up for the evening? Erica was curious, but thought she would just wait to see what it was. In a few minutes, they arrived at the Imperial Palace. The attendant greeted them and asked how long they were staying, so he knew how close to park their car. Thank you, ladies, and enjoy the show. Once inside, they headed for the theater. This time, the attendant's remark, addressing them as ladies, made Erica smile. Anne and Erica were seated and waited for the show to begin. Anne turned to Erica and whispered, this time, when the attendant addresses us as women, I noticed you didn't act surprised. In fact, I saw you smile at him. Was he that cute? I must say, you look darling in this outfit. I'd better keep my eyes on you or some guy may try to pick you up. I never got to ask you how you feel dressed as a woman, especially wearing a bra. Does the bra make you feel sexier than the other clothes? Erica replied, well, let's face it, you did a darn good job of making me look like a woman and yes, the bra is a nice extra touch and it does make me feel sexy like a woman, I guess. Thanks. With that remark, Erica gave Anne a little kiss on her cheek, forgetting that people would see him a woman, kissing another woman, but not to fret, women are always giving other women a kiss. As the lights were lowered, the evening's show was announced. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Frank Marino's Divas. We hope you enjoy the show. Now, sit back, relax and enjoy. It was a most fitting show for Erica's first appearance as a woman. Nothing could have been better. Erica loved the outfits the performers wore. During the intermission, Anne and Erica discussed which outfits they liked best and why, and made a mental note of which outfits Erica liked best. I never know when such information might come in handy, she thought. After the show, Anne and Erica went to the casino's restaurant for a late-night dinner. The hostess greeted them and asked, a table for 2 ladies tonight? As she looked at Erica, and gave her a wink which said, you look very nice as a woman, good job. Erica smiled back at her and followed Anne to the table. Was she imagining things? Or were the waiters friendlier to them tonight because they were 2 women? Thought Erica. Erica thought that, usually, they never get treated as nicely as they were being treated this night. And 2 noticed the difference and voiced her observations to Erica. Maybe I should go out more often with Erica, as it seems we get better service that way, teased and Erica just smiled. Enjoy your meal, Erica replied. Dinner as a woman was a new experience for Erica, and asked what Erica wanted to do after dinner. Before Erica could answer, she added, honey, why don't we stroll down the strip, maybe stop in at a casino and do some gambling, then we can stop at Baskin-Robbins again for some soft ice cream. and wanted Erica to have some time to experience being out in public as a woman. Erica would probably never dress as a woman again, she thought, so she might as well enjoy it for a few more hours. Erica agreed, so off they went to join the evening parade of tourists on the strip. And Erica had a lot of men checking them out. After walking the strip for an hour or so, they stepped into a casino for some gambling. "Why don't we stop at the bar for a drink first?" suggested Anne. She wanted to see how Erica would react if things went as she and thought they would. As they sat down in the bar, and said she had to use the restroom, and really wanted to leave Erica alone to see whether a man would try to pick her up and how she would react if that happened, so she spent much more time in the restroom than usual. While Anne was in the restroom, a man stopped behind Erica, tapped her on the shoulder and asked, "Is this seat taken?" There was another empty seat on her other side, so Erica thought that this man could have the empty seat. Erica replied, "No, this seat is not taken." The man thanked Erica and sat down next to her. Just about then, Anne stepped out of the restroom. She saw the man sit down and thought that she should give him some time and see what he would do, and sat down at a slot machine with a good view of Erica. It took only moments for the man to strike up a conversation with Erica, introducing himself as Jeff. Erica introduced herself after a few minutes and decided that Erica may need rescuing, so she got up to join Erica. As she sat down, Erica introduced her to the man. "And this is Jeff. He's a local and offered to buy me a drink," stated Erica. And replied, "It's so nice to meet you, Jeff. Erica and I work at the same office, so we decided that a weekend in Las Vegas for a couple of girlfriends would be fun." "What a great idea. I hope that you are enjoying Las Vegas, but be careful. 2 lovely women in Vegas attract attention," advised Jeff. Jeff then also ordered a drink for Anne. They sat and chatted for almost an hour. When Anne and Erica indicated that it was time for them to leave, Jeff asked Erica whether he could have her phone number, stating, "I occasionally go to Sacramento on business and would love to buy you dinner next time I'm in town, if you're open to that." Erica thought that this was a bit more than she bargained for, so she gave Jeff a bogus number, and smiled at how clever Erica was. Yes, that's her cop husband, even if he looks like a woman for the moment. It was time for Anne to take her girlfriend home, before someone else hit on her, maybe for keeps. The Las Vegas weekend was a welcome change for Anne and Eric. They had a great time, trying new adventures. Now it was time to fly home. Because of the 9/11 weekend, Anne thought it best not to ask Eric whether he wanted to fly home as Erica. From the looks of how he enjoyed himself, posing as Erica, and was afraid that against better judgment, he might opt for flying home in femme mode. And didn't want Eric to be confronted by edgy security and outed by them, so she told Erica that it was time to change back to the old Eric mode. Truthfully, Eric did wish that he could prolong his experience as Erica, but he didn't want to seem overly anxious. If he appeared too anxious, Anne may get suspicious and his plan could be derailed. Monday morning, Eric could hardly wait to see Gail, as she met him early, which was routine now custom. "Oh Gail, I have so much to tell you," gushed Eric. Eric then told her every detail about the Las Vegas weekend, even showing her his nails, explaining that only hours ago, he had red nails, but Anne took off the red polish and redid his nails with a clear polish, saying that he should go to the office with a small reminder of his weekend as a woman. Gail responded, "My dear Eric, it seems like you've just made about 20 years progress towards your goal, and it appears that your wife may not be so opposed to you becoming a woman once she finds out that that is your plan. We'll still have to be careful not to rush this, but I think we can proceed a little quicker than planned, because, as you told me, she enjoys seeing you in a feminine mode. We just don't know yet for how long she would like you to be in femme mode when you're dress up." Gail had a nice blouse picked out for Eric. Along with his manicured nails, Eric was still wearing his necklace and bracelet, and his hair still had a bit of the weekend touch. He would look quite nice today, at the office. Every day, Gail had a new blouse for Eric in midweek. She touched up his nail polish. The staff was now quite accustomed to Eric's new look. Some secretly wondered how long it would be before Eric transitioned, as had Terry. On Friday, and surprised Eric. She laid out Eric's clothes for the office. Instead of the usual men's pants he wore, and laid out a pair of the women's slacks, which he had worn in Las Vegas. Eric thought he had better play this safe, so he thought that he should voice some objection. "Honey, these aren't my regular pants." "What's up?" questioned Eric. And answered, "You know, dear, with the weekend away, it messed up my laundry schedule, so I ran out of pants for you. Would you terribly mind wearing the slacks to work? If anyone asks why you're wearing them, just tell them that I didn't get the laundry done. After Terry's transition, I don't think anyone will care what you're wearing." Why did and mention the part about Terry's transition? Thought Eric. Is she trying to hint at something that she would like me looking a bit femme on a more permanent basis? Eric didn't think his luck could be that good, so he put it out of his mind. At work, he told Gail about Anne's comments. Gail thought that it was the perfect time to take a bigger step as to what he would wear home that day. "Eric, today, I want you to keep your blouse on again when you go home. If Anne says anything, just tell her that I thought that with such lovely femme slacks, you look much better wearing a blouse than a drab shirt. If she had you dress up in Las Vegas, she probably won't have any objection." During the day, only a couple of employees remarked to Eric that they noticed that Anne got him some new clothes in Las Vegas. Carol had a nice compliment, saying that the slacks fit him much better than his pants. "Oops," thought Eric, "she actually noticed that I'm wearing women's slacks, not just nicer men's pants. A blouse and women's slacks. What is Carol thinking about Eric's new attire? What are the other staff thinking?" Eric decided to follow Gail's suggestion. When it was time to go home, he did not take off his blouse. When he arrived home, and greeted him, saying, "I see I have a new man. What happened? Do you already miss being Erica?" Eric replied that when Gail saw him wearing slacks, she thought it was more appropriate that he should also wear a blouse, so she ran back to the thrift store and got him a blouse, but with the promise that he wear it home. Little did Anne know that Gail had several blouses stashed at the office for Eric, and seemed satisfied with that explanation. "All right, dear, would you like to add anything else before we go to dinner?" queried Anne. Eric innocently asked, "What do you mean, do I want to add anything?" And replied that besides the handbag she thought he should carry, because the slacks had no pockets, he may want to wear something additional to add a little flavor and reminder of the Las Vegas weekend. Eric was right in thinking that Anne was offering for him to add a touch of something femme to his appearance. So as not to tip his hand at the excitement he felt at this offer, he remarked, "I can't think of anything." "What did you have in mind, hon?" And told him to meet her in the bedroom. "I have a little present for you, my dear. Slip off your slacks." Eric did as she instructed. Then Anne brought out a bag from a lingerie shop. She pulled out a foundation garment, a Veronica 2 garment. "This, my dear, is designed to give those slacks a better fit. You've got a pretty good figure, but women have larger hips, and when you wear slacks, they should fit as good on you as they would on a woman. Here, let me help you get the V2 on." And had already answered any question he could have asked her, so he thought it was useless to question why he should wear this garment. After he got the V2 on, and handed him a pair of pantyhose, saying that they would hide the outline of the V2. Eric slipped on the pantyhose and stood up. He walked over to the mirror to admire his new figure. As he walked towards the mirror, he noticed that his step was different, a lighter step, with a wiggle in his hips. And saw it too and remarked, "Step into those heels I got you and you'll be walking like a woman." Women always wished that their man could walk in their shoes so they could feel the pain of looking glamorous for their husbands. "How does that feel?" Eric replied that his was indeed a different feeling, wearing the foundation garment and the heels. He admitted that the pantyhose made his legs feel kind of sexy. "All right, dear, now we're ready for dinner. I thought that we could enjoy the Las Vegas weekend experience one more time. With and as his side and handbag over his shoulder, they got into the car and drove to the Olive Garden for dinner. Eric was at loss as to what to think and what to do. His doctor had told him that crossdressing was something he should explore in order to reduce his stress. However, he was afraid, especially after Terry's transition, that his wife would object, thinking that if he began to crossdress, he too would want to fully transition. Eric was afraid to lose his wife. Crossdressing had its appeal and he was beginning to really enjoy it. That alone scared him at times, but losing his wife, because of crossdressing, was a thought he could not entertain. What to do? And Eric had a fairly quiet dinner, as Eric was pondering these thoughts. Honey, I've noticed that you're not your talkative self tonight. Is something wrong? Asked Eric thought for a moment before answering. No dear, wearing these slacks, blouse and heels just made me think of our last weekend in Vegas. I guess I was just reliving those moments, Eric replied. It was Saturday and decided to test the waters, to determine how much Eric really enjoyed the Femme weekend in Las Vegas and how much he may still be interested in continuing the Femme experience. She took Eric shopping with her and dragged Eric to Macy's, but this was the Macy's woman's store. They headed right to the lingerie department and had not asked Eric to wear a blouse or his slacks, so he wouldn't be suspicious about what wanted to buy, and thought that if she got him into the lingerie department, without him knowing that she wanted to buy more lingerie for him, it would be easier. So, Eric indeed thought that and wanted some more lingerie. She looked at several bras and asked Eric which color he liked best. Eric said that he always liked black and red, so bought several 36C bras in those colors for her. Then she moved over a table or two to the 38C bras first and picked out several sheer bras in Eric's size. Next, she picked up several padded bras in red and black. Eric noticed and asked why she was looking at the padded bras, and replied, "Well, dear, I saw how much you enjoyed the weekend in Las Vegas and I thought how fortunate it was that one of my old padded bras was still in my suitcase. That bra made a real difference in your appearance. I just thought that if we ever go there again, I would enjoy going there with Erica and Erica should look as ladylike as possible." Eric couldn't believe his ears. Did he really hear that and was thinking about dressing him up again as Erica? Wow, maybe Terry's crossdressing really had an effect on her. Maybe she thought that he looks better as a woman than as a man. But what if he transitioned? Would she still love him at least as a girlfriend? Too many thoughts were flooding his mind. And noticed that Eric seemed zoned out. Eric, pay attention. Let's go to the dressing room and have you try these on. The sheer bras fit just fine, but the padded bras were the bras Eric craved. He had to conceal his excitement, so he pretended to not be greatly interested in trying them on. Bra fitting complete, and walked over to the panty section and grabbed another pack, along with more pantyhose for both purchases in hand, and Eric departed Macy's, and thought that for the moment, she had bought enough lingerie for Eric. Although she thought that Eric looked better in some nicer, yes, feminine slacks and shirt blouses, but she didn't want him to think that she wanted him to dress totally as a woman at home or at work. A sort of androgynous look, a bit effeminate instead of super macho, was the style she was looking for at the moment. Sunday, and Eric got up early for church, and would have loved to have Eric looking more refined, okay, a bit femme, because most folks dress up nicer for church, but she thought that because Mark and Janie saw them in Las Vegas, she had better not dress Eric in anything but his normal macho clothes. And didn't want to have Mark and Janie think that Eric was dressing femme on a regular basis. That would be too embarrassing, because the Halls might think that she had other sexual preferences. After church, the Halls came over to greet them and ask whether they could join them for lunch at Marie Callender's. As they entered the restaurant, Janie told Mark to ask for a secluded booth. Once seated, they exchanged the latest news about their kids, the pending Harvest Festival and even Christmas plans. Halfway through lunch, Janie turned to him and commented, "If you don't mind my saying so, Eric looked really nice in Las Vegas. I thought that you had turned a new leaf with him. I know you've always wished that he didn't dress so proper, so conservative, just because he's in law enforcement. I really expected to see him in church today, in his new attire. What happened? Did he resist the change?" And answered, "No, Eric didn't resist. I didn't ask him to dress that way today because I thought that too many of the folks at church would view it as strange, at best, and even deviant, for the more conservative folks. Eric was quite uncomfortable when I suggested that he try a new style of clothes, but after a few days in Las Vegas, he began to get into it and seemed to enjoy it. If people didn't think it was strange that a man dress a bit femme, I'd have him dress that way all the time. Finer clothes give Eric an entire different appearance, and that affects his attitude and mood. He doesn't put on his macho act when dressed in something femme. He's a much gentler, more sensitive and relaxed when he's in some femme clothes." Janie responded, "Oh dear, I know what you mean. I've been thinking the same about Mark. He has such a tough responsibility, comforting dying folks, dealing with divorce counseling, listening to hardship stories because of people's financial struggles, etc., and through it all, he has to put on a strong front. He can't let people think that he is weak, not a real macho man, a strong man who can handle anything. I often think that his job is going to kill him because of stress. He needs something to divert his mind from the stress he has to deal with every day. Maybe we could do dinner at your house one week and our house the following week, and maybe you could get Eric to dress up nice for dinner, so Mark could see that a manly man can also appreciate the finer things in life. Maybe, in time, I could get Mark to follow his example." "What a great idea. Let me work on that," replied Anne. Halloween, or Harvest Festival, as celebrated by church folks, was soon coming up. At work, that didn't go unnoticed. A Halloween dress-up day was office tradition. Gail thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to give the men a chance to try something different, and met with Carol and said that she had a Halloween dress-up idea. She told Carol that instead of everyone dressing as some Hollywood star or some movie character, the theme should be walking a mile in your spouse's shoes. She explained that her idea was that all the women would dress as men and the men would dress as women. Yes, of course you expected this, but hold on, this could be a true story if you take the clue. To encourage participation by everyone, they would have a sizable cash prize for best dressed in each category. And to give everyone plenty of time to prepare, they would announce it today. Eric was sick and not at work today, so he would miss the announcement. When the announcement was made, there were some groans from the men and one person was heard mumbling something about Eric really looking forward to Halloween. Gail overheard the comment and retorted, "What are you afraid of? Do you think you might enjoy dressing as a woman more than anyone else here? I'm betting you dinner that you can't look half as good as Eric, or some of the other guys. I think you're just jealous." Well, that night was a big buzz at everyone's house, as they told their spouses about the office Halloween plans. Generally, the wives were more enthused about dressing their husbands as women than the wives were about having to dress as men. Of course, the women took charge in planning for the office party. Men don't get into dressing up as women do, because women regularly wear what used to be considered strictly menswear: jeans, shirts, pants, etc. So if this party was going to be a success, the women had to make it happen. As much as they disliked dressing totally as men, that dislike was offset by them being able to see their husbands dressed in something other than their Wrangler jeans. Yes, this would be fun, especially because law enforcement guys always view themselves as the toughest guys on the block and too often act that way. When Eric returned to work, Gail couldn't wait to tell him about the Halloween dress-up contest. "Eric, we can use this to your advantage. We can add a bit more to your appearance, maybe daily, and at most, the staff may think that you're trying to get into the groove for Halloween. In fact, after what you told me about your Las Vegas weekend, you could tell and that you want to get some practice, so when Halloween comes, you won't have to suddenly change gears. That way, and will get used to seeing you in a more femme appearance on a daily basis, as will the staff, while you're making progress towards your ultimate goal," stated Gail. Of course, Eric thought this was a great idea. Every day, the idea of looking like a woman, yes, maybe even being a woman someday, was warming up his heart. These feelings couldn't just be the result of him knowing that his health would improve if he lowered his stress. There was something else inside of his being, something which seemed to crave being a woman, all woman. Did he survive all these years not knowing that he was born in the wrong body? Or was he just so taken by how nice he looked as a woman that this was some fantasy that would soon pass? That night, Eric told Anne about the office Halloween contest. Wow, and couldn't believe it. This would be her opportunity to make the change in Eric's personality that she was looking for. After the weekend in Las Vegas, Anne was convinced that a femme appearance on a permanent basis would be better for Eric's health because it greatly reduced his stress by not having to act macho. And besides, in femme mode, Erica was more loving, more sensitive, and more fun. Oh yes, Anne was also looking forward to Halloween. The next morning, Anne suggested that Eric wear the slacks again, along with a blouse shirt, as she sometimes called his blouses. Eric didn't question it. Instead, he replied, "I see that you really want me to win this contest, getting me into the mood early. Isn't that cheating?" And responded, "There are no rules that say you can't get an early start. I want us to win this contest. We could use the money for another weekend in Las Vegas, but that will only happen if you are the best woman in the office on Halloween." Gail was already at the office when Eric arrived. Today he arrived late, as Gail discovered, because he didn't have to change into a blouse, he was already wearing one, along with women's slacks. My, don't you look sweet today. How did you manage that?" asked Gail. Eric told her that and wanted him to win the contest, so she thought that, because the rules didn't prohibit it, he should get an early start, getting accustomed to being in femme attire. The following week started with Anne again laying out a blouse and slacks for Eric. By midweek, she also added panties. By end of that week, she had him wearing the V2 garment under his slacks. The comments in the office were numerous. "I see you're getting into the contest early." Another said, "So, did Terry's transition affect you that much?" And Carol stated, "Well, boss, I must admit that I like you much better with the softer touch that your new attire gives you. Someday, you might want to be a woman, be careful, dear." Wow, that comment from Carol really hit him. Was his desire to be a woman becoming obvious to others, or was she just teasing him? When he got home, Eric shared the employee's comments with Anne and told him that the guys were just jealous and afraid that he would win the contest. She told him that he should not be deterred from trying to win the contest. Eric, instead of giving in to them, "Let's make an extra effort to win this," coaxed, and Eric thought that and was very understanding and encouraging. For work, the next morning, Anne laid out Eric's clothes, panties, the V2 garment, pantyhose, and slacks, and something else, a sheer bra, along with his blouse. Eric looked at the selection of clothes and it created a deep, warm, peaceful feeling. But a bra, wasn't that pushing it a bit? Eric asked Anne about the bra, and said that she thought he should wear the bra so that he would feel more feminine like in Las Vegas. The more time he had to adjust to feeling feminine, the more successful he would be, acting as a woman, the day he would be totally dressed as a woman. And told Eric that because it was a sheer bra, it would not be readily noticeable under his blouse. Unless someone really looked closely, even the bra straps were not noticeable. Eric put on the bra, then checked himself in the mirror. He couldn't see the bra strap outline, so he felt better about wearing it. Oh yes, and also had him wear the wedge heels. For the moment, Gail's job of getting Eric dressed at the office was over. But Gail was happy that her plan for the Halloween contest was helping Eric to get feminized quicker, and that, with Anne's help, but without her direct knowledge. Gail could detect Eric's deep desire to become a woman, not because the doctor prescribed it, but because she saw a woman deep inside Eric, a woman who yearned to be expressed. She saw it from early on when Terry was transitioning. She noticed the longing glances Eric would have towards Terry and heard some of the compliments Eric gave her during the transition. On the other hand, Anne was simply interested in getting Eric a bit feminized, so that he would be a gentler, more refined person. It was Friday and only 2 weeks before the Halloween dress-up contest. Anne decided that it was time for some more effort to win the contest. For her to look like Eric, for the contest, would not be difficult, but for a man to look and act convincingly as a woman, takes much more effort and practice. And decided that she needed to get some more items for Eric's transformation. During her lunch break, she went to a prosthetics shop. There she selected some 38D breast forms and bras. Her next stop was for makeup. She knew what Eric's skin tone was, so she got the appropriate beard concealer, foundation, blush, mascara, eyeliner, brow liner, lipstick, and a darker red nail polish. As a last purchase, Anne bought what she considered the most important item, a very high quality, expensive blonde wig. When Eric got home and showed him what she had purchased, Eric was amazed. He commented, "You really want me to win the contest? What if I don't?" "Well, dear, then we'll just make good use of this stuff some weekend, even if the weekend isn't in Las Vegas. And starting Monday, I want you to go to work fully dressed as a woman. However, we'll wait until the contest day to display you in your full feminine glory." Eric couldn't believe what Anne had said. Here he was, secretly wearing a blouse at work, thinking that if Anne knew, she would object, and now Anne was talking about him dressing as a woman this weekend and then every day until Halloween. What caused Anne to be so open to him looking like a woman? Did she detect an inner need in him, that he wanted to be a woman? It couldn't just be about winning the office dress-up contest, could it? They say that women have a sixth sense. Did she sense his real need? With all of the additional items Anne purchased, the next week, at work would find them being put to good use. Eric had already worn a blouse, slacks, and heels to work, so it was time to add to that. But first, the weekend. Saturday morning, Anne decided that Eric's nails should look feminine, so she shaped them again and coated them with a lightly colored polish. She also brushed out his hair in a more feminine style, and told Eric that starting now, she wanted him to dress fully as a woman, explaining that he would need the time to get his gait and mannerisms practiced, so he would pass really well as a woman on Halloween. And decided that going out in public would be good practice for Eric, so she decided that they would spend the entire day out shopping and eating out. She told Eric to shave again when taking his shower. Meanwhile, she laid out his clothes for the day: a black padded bra, black panties, a black and white blouse, off black pantyhose, the V2 undergarment, black slacks, and his wedge heels. After getting dressed, Anne sat Eric down at the vanity and began her transformation, applying all the makeup she bought. After she brushed his hair to a nice feminine style, she announced, "Done." Eric looked in the mirror and couldn't believe what he saw. Eric thought that he just might have a chance to win the contest. He only considered one other guy capable of looking better than him as a woman, providing that his wife put as much time and attention into his transformation as did Anne. Today was Erica Day. All day, Anne and Erica went from store to store at 3 different malls, not because they thought they would find something different at each mall, but simply so Eric would get exposure and experience being out in public as Erica, a woman. At one of the Macy's makeup counters, and bought some false eyelashes. At a leather shop, she purchased a purse. Then a thought came to her. In the window at Ann Taylor's, she saw 4 window models sporting short skirts and sundresses. Yes, it was their fall clearance. The weather was still warm and these skirts were on sale, and dragged Erica into the shop. After almost an hour of looking and trying on various skirts, and settled on 5 skirts, 3 sundresses and 2 regular dresses for Erica. Dresses! That gave Anne another thought. With dresses, Erica would need high-heel dress shoes, not wedge heels. So, Anne picked out 3 pair of heels for Erica. Early afternoon, and decided that they should stop at the house for a quick nap and to freshen up before going out for dinner. Getting ready for dinner, Gail decided to pull out all stops. She got Erica into sexy black panties, her V2 foundation undergarment, black pantyhose, a black bra, along with the 38D breast forms, a black skirt with a satiny white blouse and full makeup, concealer, foundation, blush, eyeliner, eyeshadow, mascara, lipstick, and the wig. Tonight, they were going to the Firehouse for dinner, one of Sacramento's finest restaurants. There, people check each other out to see who is best dressed, and the women always come dressed to the nines. Politicians are seen there on a regular basis. Eric was shocked to see how nice, almost gorgeous, he looked. Truth be known, he really did think that he looked gorgeous. And commented, "Erica, you look absolutely terrific, so feminine. I hope you feel feminine and sexy. If you do, you will enjoy this night even more than you did your experience in Las Vegas." Before heading to the Firehouse, and decided that they should stop at the mall for some gold earrings for Erica. And Erica were halfway through the mall when suddenly someone called out, "Hi, Anne." And Erica turned and couldn't believe who was there. It was the Halls from church. Oh dear. The last time they ran into the Halls was in Las Vegas and Eric was in a femme mode. And to see him again, in femme mode, what would the Halls think? How would they react? Taking a deep breath, and knew it was time, again, to face the music. Yes, that was the appropriate choice of words, thought Anne, because Mark was their minister of music. "Well, hi there. How are you guys doing?" greeted, and Janie returned the greeting. "We're doing well. We're just out doing some window shopping. You know how challenging these times are economically, can't afford to buy much. I see that you've spent your monthly budget getting Eric spruced up. I guess we shouldn't refer to her as Eric, looking so lovely. What name does she go by?" "Erica," replied, and Janie continued, "Erica. I should have thought of that. It's the logical choice for her femme name, and so fitting. And by the way, the wig makes you look exceptionally feminine." "Well, Erica, it's so nice to meet you. I must say that Anne has you polished up very nicely. You make a very convincing woman, my dear. I'm glad to see that you're happy in your new mode. I wished I could get Mark to look trendier, but he thinks his Wrangler look is just fine. What's the occasion for her looking so nice?" And quickly explained that at the office Halloween party, the men had to dress as women and the women as men, so she wanted Erica to get some practice, as the top prize was quite rewarding. "Looking like that, I know you'll win the office contest. Maybe someday the church staff could have a party like that. I'd love to see how Mark would look as a woman." "Good luck, my dear. You look gorgeous," commented Janie. Mark and Erica quickly exchanged hellos and, under the circumstances, were content to let the women do the chatting. And was concerned that having Eric look like a woman could lead the Halls to think that she and Eric enjoyed this feminine escapade for other reasons. And did not want to tip her hand that indeed she wanted to feminize Eric on a permanent basis, so she thought that some further, erroneous, explanation should be given. "Janie, it's not what you think Eric looking like Erica. As I mentioned, his office is having a Halloween dress-up contest, but regardless of who wins, they all have to participate, so I thought that if Eric has to look like a woman, he might as well get some practice. I don't want him to be embarrassed by looking like a queen, so I thought that getting started early would be beneficial. Because he has to dress as a woman, I want him to look like a woman." Mark was now listening carefully to Anne. He remarked, "So that's why we saw you in Las Vegas, in almost the same mode." Mark thought that he would spare Eric the pain of using words like femme or feminine when describing Eric's appearance. Little did he know that Eric was not embarrassed about his feminine appearance. Although the official reason for his being dressed was a contest, Eric was getting to love looking feminine more and more. Yes, he did feel feminine and sexy, and meeting Mark, one of his most conservative friends, excited him. It made him feel even more feminine, for Mark to see him in his femme attire, and this feeling confirmed that he should be a woman. Erica had a desire, no, a need for others to see the real person, the woman within. Others seeing him as a woman had no clue that he really wasn't a woman, but instead, a quite conservative guy. As they were ready to part, Mark stated, "Well, I expect that I'll see you guys at church tomorrow. And coming dressed as Erica will be perfectly fine. In fact, I expect it. I don't want you to miss church because you think that you have to interrupt your weekend as Erica in order to attend church. Don't be late." And quickly replied, "Oh, I don't think Eric will be there. After a long day out in heels, he won't be in any condition to be out tomorrow. Besides, his sister came in from Reno. Most likely, I'll bring her to church instead of Eric." As soon as they were out of the mall, Erica asked and why she told that lie to Mark. "Honey, when Mark said that he expected to see you in church as Erica, it dawned on me that he was giving you permission, even officially inviting you to attend as a woman. Inviting you to come dressed as you are was an invitation to come dressed as a woman. Did you notice that when he invited you, he referred to you as Erica, not Eric? Had he said that he expected to see Eric at church tomorrow, it would have been a hint that although you seem to have an excuse for looking like a woman at the moment, he expected you to clean up and attend church as a man. He didn't do that. Let's have some fun with this, especially because now he is not expecting Erica," answered and Erica had a wonderful, even romantic dinner at the firehouse. And, although folks dress very nicely to have dinner there, and Erica were among the best dressed. The waiters treated them superbly and the dinner was beyond description. And Erica got a lot of looks from the men, which made Erica feel very feminine. Erica's feminine feelings were boosted because the men seemed to find her attractive, giving her big smiles as they passed her on the way to the restroom. In fact, one man made 2 trips past and Erica's table and gave her a very obvious sexy smile as he passed her. And noticed it and commented, "Good thing I'm here with you. The way you two looked at each other, I suspect you would be going home with him if you were alone. I can't blame him for lusting after you. He sees a very sexy and gorgeous woman, little does he know." And got Eric up very early Sunday morning. She knew what she had planned. Today, the full Erica would make her public appearance at church, and laid out Erica's lingerie and femme clothes. She decided to give Erica a very feminine look. Today it would be a short skirt and her sexiest blouse, with matching high heels. But there was more, and told Erica to let her know when she was ready to put on her bra. Soon, Erica called to and that she was ready, and entered the bedroom with the breast forms. Erica looked to see what she had, and told Erica to lie down on the bed, and opened the boxes and took out the breast forms. She showed them to Erica and told her that this time, she had attached an adhesive, which would last up to 2 weeks, even though taking a shower. She then pressed the breast forms onto Erica's chest. "What was wrong with the non-sticking breast forms?" asked Erica. "Oh honey, wait until you stand up and put on your bra. There's nothing like guiding your breasts into a sexy bra, instead of stuffing your bra after you already have it on. Guiding your breasts into your bra will give you a much more feminine feeling, and that will boost your confidence when you're out as a woman. When you walk, you'll see that they move, look and feel like real breasts. Padded bras are easy to spot, and inserts still don't move quite as naturally as breasts, but these attached breast forms will make you look as if you really have breasts, not to mention they will give you the greatest feminine feeling you've ever had, aside from sex as a woman," explained Anne. When Erica stood up, she indeed felt differently. The weight of the breasts instantly told her that she had a new addition to her body, an addition which draws the attention of men, like bees to honey. And commented, "From now on, I will refer to you only as Erica, because that is who I want you to think of yourself as, and you need to get used to being addressed as a female." And spent more time on Erica's makeup than ever before. She wanted it to look perfect. And when she was done, from the false eyelashes to the deeper red nail polish, there was no more Eric visible. The figure was totally Erica. A spray of Charlie completed N's efforts. Erica announced, "Ready to go." "Not so quick, dear. We can't forget your wig," said N. With that, she went to the closet and picked up a large box from the shelf. She walked over to Erica and placed the blonde hair on her head, adjusting it as necessary. "Okay, dear, now we're ready." Erica almost fainted. She looked gorgeous. "Honey, I think I'm ready for church," squealed Erica. And answered, "Yes, you are, dear. And think about it. Mark is expecting to see me at church today, with your sister. Let's see whether he thinks you are the sister or whether he recognizes you." "What a wild idea. You are so devious. I'd better watch you. Next thing I know, you'll be talking me into a sex change," remarked Erica. "I would if I could if it were only that easy, so be careful what you wish for." "I've been waiting for a long time to see you looking this feminine," joked, "and now, let's go to church and slay some dragons. I can't wait to see Mark and Janie's reactions when they meet you. It will be the acid test for your coming out as a woman. You may never want to be Eric again," added Anne. On the way to church, Erica ran Anne's comments through her mind. What was Anne kidding about being careful what you wish for? Was she kidding about waiting a long time to see you this feminine? But, above all, was she kidding about a sex change, if we're only that easy? Erica always heard that there is some truth couched in all joking. So, if she enjoyed seeing him in femme mode, what brought on this feeling in her? Regardless of why Anne felt that way, Erica was secretly thrilled at the prospect that Anne may want to further feminize her. And then Erica arrived at church just seconds before the service began. And timed it that way, so they wouldn't have to greet anyone before the service. She thought that after church, there would be plenty of time for that. Besides, during the service, she wanted to observe whether anyone was taking second glances at Erica, perhaps indicating that they recognized who she is. And detected no unusual glances at Erica. While Anne was preoccupied with her thoughts, Erica was enjoying worshiping as a woman. Her mind was flooded with thoughts of praise, secret praise that at last she had the opportunity to finally worship in feminine mode, the mode that her heart was in tune with. Erica felt that God knew her heart and long ago knew that she felt like a woman in her heart. To be worshiping, today, as a woman, fulfilled a deep longing in her heart. Oh, how she wanted to share that feeling with Anne, but how would Anne react? After the service, Anne greeted people as usual. And decided on a bold move. She introduced Erica to everyone as Eric's sister. People said that they were glad to meet Eric's sister, and some even commented how clever it was of her parents to name their son Eric and their daughter Erica. One couple asked Erica, "Did your parents ever mistakenly refer to you as Eric?" "Oh yes. All the time," relied Erica, secretly laughing inside. And finally, it happened. Pastor Mark and Janie were at the door, greeting people as they left. And Erica approached them. "Well, and it's so nice to see you, as always, and this must be Eric's sister," greeted Mark. And replied, "Thank you, likewise, it's so nice to see you, and yes, this is Erica, Eric's sister." "It's so nice to meet you, Erica," said, and Mark added, "It's too bad Eric couldn't join you. Would you lovely ladies care to join us for lunch at the Twin Dragon?" Before Erica could decline, and replied, "Yes, that would be wonderful. Both Erica and I love Chinese food. We'll save a table for the four of us." As they departed the parking lot, Erica asked Anne what she was thinking, accepting that invitation. And remarked, "Erica, neither Mark nor Janie appeared to recognize you. What better test of your femininity than to have lunch with the Halls and see how long it takes them to recognize you, if they even do. Let's enjoy this and look at it as your coming out celebration. Sunday is the perfect day to be happy and full of joy, so give them your best feminine smile." "Erica, you look so sweet," So much like a woman, sexy and feminine. I wished I could freeze you and keep you this way forever. Maybe we could get the church to take up an offering to get you a sex change. How would you like that, sweetie? Erica didn't know how to answer Anne. Once again, and was talking about him being feminine on a more permanent basis. Why did she make those comments? Her appearance as Erica was in preparation for the office party. Did Anne forget that? But Erica had to be careful with her response. One slip of the tongue and would know that being a woman is exactly what he desired. Oh, how he wanted to tell her that right now. Erica felt like she couldn't keep the secret much longer. And Erica arrived at the Twin Dragon and got a table for 4. Soon, the Halls joined them. Erica knew that she would have to be prepared with some sort of a history as Eric's sister, so, in her mind, she came up with some tall tales. During dinner, both couples were fairly quiet, so Erica didn't have to speak. As they finished eating, Mark looked at Erica and asked, "So, did your parents ever confuse you and your brother? You look so much alike and even your names are similar. I feel as if I've met you before." In the best feminine voice she could manage, Erica replied, "Yes, my parents often referred to me as Eric. When that happened, my brother had to remind them that he didn't look as nice. Secretly, because he felt that I got more attention, I think he wanted to be a girl." Mark responded, "Well, I think that Eric is jealous of your looks even today. We saw him a few months ago, in Las Vegas, and he looked as if he was striving for your looks. I think he's paying you a great compliment in doing so, but don't tell him what I told you." Erica gave him the biggest smile she had ever mustered as a woman, as if she was smiling at a man who just made a pass at her, and replied, "Honey, my lips are sealed." "Thanks," replied Mark. Lunch was over and Anne offered to pay for being so nice to invite us and for being so kind to Erica. She is considering moving here, so she'll need some friends. Let's call this lunch to future friendship with Erica. The Halls thanked Anne and said goodbye to her and Erica. As they were walking to their car, and decided that Erica needed another feminine experience to boost her feminine confidence. Before they went too far in the parking lot, and called to Janie, "Janie, do you have a minute?" Janie and Mark stopped. Without a warning to Erica, and gently pulled her along towards the Halls. When they reached the Halls, Janie said, "Mark, Janie, you missed something this morning." Mark and Janie looked at each other with puzzled looks. "What did we miss?" asked Mark, with a serious and concerned look. And responded, "Mark, Janie, I'd like you to meet Erica, my spouse." The look on the Halls' faces was priceless. For what seemed like minutes, neither one was able to speak. And came to their rescue. "While you catch your breath, why don't you drive over and join us at our house for dessert?" she offered. "We'll do just that," replied Janie. At Erica's house, and explained how she always wished that she could get Eric to look a bit nicer and get him out of his Wranglers into something trendy, but that because of his career, he seemed impossible to budge out of his conservative mode. She explained that he came home one day, wearing a blouse shirt, because he spilled ink on his shirt and one of the women got a shirt blouse for him from a thrift shop, an emergency substitute. And explained that the minute she saw his shirt blouse, she liked how it made him look more refined. And continued to fill them in on all the details, up to the day they met in Las Vegas, and then told them about the office Halloween role switching and dress-up day. And then confided that once she got into the spirit of the upcoming contest, she enjoyed seeing Eric in a feminine style more and more. Erica sat there, speechless, but inside she was experiencing a deep satisfaction. Their closest friends were now aware of his crossdressing. Regardless of why they thought that she crossdressed, they now knew, and Erica knew that she didn't have to hide it from them anymore. What a relief that was! Erica felt freedom to be a woman. And spoke again, "Mark, Janie, what if after all this practice and the dress-up day, I still find that I want to continue to see Eric as Erica? I know that right now, because of the contest, I'm enjoying seeing him in femme mode because I want to see him win the contest, But after there is no more reason for him to dress in femme clothing, would it be wrong if I still enjoyed seeing Erica rather than Eric? Mark pondered that question for a moment. He searched his mind to see whether he could remember anything in scripture addressing such topic. Finally he answered, "And what you and your spouse do is a private matter. I don't see that the church could object. Heaven knows there are plenty of things we do, as church members, that are not against scripture, but no doubt, someone would object. If enjoying your spouse as Erica is what you desire and he, or rather she, accepts that, then I see nothing to stop you from enjoying each other in that manner. In fact, I want to invite Erica to join us at church at any time. Can I expect to see her at church again next Sunday?" Mark added, and, in further response to your question, cross-dressing was prohibited in the Old Testament, although for entirely different reasons than what most people assume, but in the New Testament, there is no such prohibition and, in fact, cross-dressing was not ever mentioned again. Additionally, we must remember that we are no longer under the Old Testament law, but under New Testament grace. Mark assured them that in the New Testament, in Romans chapter 1, God had Paul list the lifestyles which were not acceptable if one wanted to inherit eternal life, but cross-dressing was not among them. Mark added, "I don't see that the church could object, on any biblical grounds, to how you express yourself by dressing as a woman." Erica just had to speak. "Mark, you don't know how much that means to me. We've been friends for a long time and you were the last one I wanted to meet in this mode, because I was afraid of your reaction. This all started innocently with an accident at the office, when a coworker offered me a shirt blouse when I ruined my shirt with ink. Then the coming Halloween party allowed me to continue to delve into my new encounter with feminine apparel. As I got into the spirit of the Halloween competition, my spirit was awakened to an inside feeling I had managed to suppress until now, that I had yearnings of femininity. I'm so glad for your openness and acceptance, and yes, you will most likely see Erica at church in the future. And if Janie ever suggests to you that you try something new, like wearing a blouse around the house, don't balk at her suggestion. You may find a new fulfillment that you didn't even know existed." "Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. If I thought I would look half as good as you, maybe Janie could tempt me with such a suggestion," replied Mark. Then it was Janie's turn to speak. "And, if it means anything to you, I must say that when I first saw Erica in Las Vegas, I hoped that you would continue with Erica's feminization. I could tell from the look on her face that dressing as a woman was not just a Las Vegas event. I saw in her eyes that she was truly enjoying being perceived as a woman, although today you look a million times better, so feminine, so sexy, that you even fooled us." When the Halls left, Anne and Erica hugged each other, and then kissed for a long time. That's all they could do after such an unexpectedly pleasant time with their friends. Their chat with the Halls made them feel more relaxed about Eric's dressing as a woman. And spoke first, "Honey, now that you feel more comfortable, because your best friend didn't stone you, I think you know what should follow. Tomorrow and for the entire week, I think you should live 24/7 as Erica. We won't show all of our cards to your staff, because we'll save the best for last, as we did today, but you can go to work as Erica in a subdued mode each day." Monday morning, Gail was waiting to see what changes Eric had made for work. When she saw him, she marveled at how nice he looked. Erica couldn't wait to tell Gail all that had transpired over the weekend. Gail beamed, "You look so nice, so feminine. Who would have ever thought that Eric could become such a sexy woman? And to think that instead of me secretly helping you on the road to womanhood, your wife has been responsible for your transformation. That's truly amazing. It's true. Behind every successful man is a good woman. May I add that behind the new Erica is a very special woman. The new look really suits you perfectly. You are a natural, presenting as a woman and a sexy woman at that." For the next 2 days, Eric went to work as Erica. But even as Erica, she was not wearing all the accessories that she would wear on Halloween. Eric wore only her padded bras, not her breast forms. She still wore slacks and wedge heels, not a skirt and heels. And Erica did not wear her eyelashes or her wig. Instead, and set her hair, which was now quite long and very passable as a feminine style. Erica got more comments from the staff, mostly positive, but some snickers were heard from a few guys. Joe commented to Carol, "I wonder how long it will be before he becomes a woman, like Terry. He may even look better than Terry, as a woman." Carol told Joe to stop being jealous. She added, "It wouldn't hurt you to get in touch with your feminine side, so that you aren't such a macho jerk all the time. I'm waiting to see how ugly you'll look as a woman, for Halloween. Don't forget to wear a mask. I'd be really upset about your comments, but I know that unlike Eric, you're not man enough to be a woman." That quieted him. For Wednesday evening, and had an appointment set at a beauty salon, so after work, she took Erica to the salon. The beautician did not know that Erica was not a genetic woman. It was time for one more improvement: pierced ears. The beautician assured Erica that for Friday, it would be okay for her to wear earrings instead of just the posts, as long as she took the earrings off at night and reinserted the posts. After Erica got her ears pierced, and selected a darling pair of long gold earrings for her on Thursday, and decided that she would throw the men at the office a curve by letting them think they knew what Erica would wear on Friday for the contest, and laid out one of the short skirts for Erica. But aside from that change, Erica still wore a padded bra, wedge heels, and no false eyelashes. When Erica arrived at the office, not many were surprised to see her looking so feminine. The guys were really worried that they had no chance to beat her in the contest. Some were openly jealous and made comments like, "That bitch is going to be impossible to beat. We'd have to get sex changes and feminization surgery to beat her." It was interesting that they didn't refer to their boss as Eric or he anymore. I hope they hold on to their panties. More surprises were coming. The big day, Halloween, had arrived, and got Erica up at 4 a.m. It would take considerable time to get Erica dolled up for her debut as a woman. For the office it was a contest, but for Anne, it was the beginning of a new life for Erica, and she wanted that day to be the most rewarding and fulfilling, the best day of Erica's new life as a woman. Today, it was time for Erica to finally wear the breast forms again. After Anne attached the breast forms and got out one of the new bras, designed especially to securely hold breast forms. It was a lace-trimmed bra and in black. It looked super sexy. Any man would offer to help Erica to take her bra off if they only knew. After putting on her V2 foundation garment and her nude pantyhose, and had Erica sit at the vanity and put forth her best effort ever in applying Erica's makeup, cover-up, foundation, blush, false eyelashes, eyeliner, eyeshadow, mascara, red lipstick, and the long dangly gold earrings. Next, and carefully attached red acrylic nails, which matched the lipstick, to Erica's fingertips. What a difference that made! The nails gave Erica an even sexier feminine look. Yesterday, and put Erica in a short skirt. Today, it was time to go all out and throw that curveball to the staff, and got out the sexiest dress she purchased for Erica recently. A black half-slip was added for proper looks, because the dress was quite sheer. The dress had a nice plunging neckline, which nicely displayed Erica's cleavage. When she walked, her breasts moved like real breasts. The men wouldn't be able to resist lusting after her, and, in a way, that was Anne's intent. And wanted Erica to look so feminine that even the women would lust after her. It was Erica's feminine image that got Anne sexually excited, and the more feminine Erica looked, the more Anne enjoyed her fantasy. Before declaring Erica ready for her office appearance, and got out Erica's new dress heels and the gorgeous blonde wig. But wait, there was more. To top off the perfect feminine image, Anne reached into her purse and took out a most lovely lady's gold watch. She fastened it around Erica's wrist. And, for perhaps the biggest surprise, she reached into her purse again, producing a diamond engagement ring. A ring any woman would covet. Honey, I think you look gorgeous, totally like a woman, and oh, so sexy. Let me add some perfume and you'll smell as lovely as you look. Asin looked at Erica, and when Erica saw herself in the mirror, they both let out a loud scream, OMG. What a fox! Is that me? Asked Erica. Yes, dear, that's the new Erica, and I hope that she will become my best friend. You look so sexy, so much a woman. I hate for you to leave the house. I'd really like to have my way with you right now. I'm worried that someone may claim you for their wife before you get to return. Be careful. I can be a very jealous spouse, chided Anne. As Erica had done a few months earlier, she arrived at the office early, knowing that Gail would be waiting to see how she looked. Gail could not believe her eyes. I don't know what to say. If you ever come back to the office as a guy, I will beat the tar out of you. Now I know why you weren't exactly opposed to your doctor's orders to Crossdress. The woman inside of you was crying to get out. No wonder you were so stressed. It wasn't all work stress. It was the stress of not being the person on the outside that you are on the inside. It was really your desire to be a woman that drove you on your mission, your plan. Now that I've discovered your secret, I'm going to make sure that the only person I see in the future in the office is Erica, remarked Gail. Erica replied, I feel the same way, but let's see how the day goes before we make further plans. Do we need to say that Erica won first place? There wasn't even a close second, although second place went to Joe, whose wife made sure that he wouldn't look like a drag queen. After Joe told her about the events at the office and about his conversation with Carol, Joe's wife decided that the only way he could redeem himself at the office is if he won first place. Well, first place Joanne did not win, but others saw great potential in him. There was a lot of talk, among the office staff, that Erica would be a new and permanent addition to the office. In fact, after she was handed the first place prize, Gail spoke, congratulating her on her victory. Then Gail added, Erica, we've all been watching your feminization over the past few months, but before that started, with the accidental ink spill, which was prearranged, so that I could get you to wear a blouse, we all noticed how interested you were in Terry's transition. We collected money from everyone bets, you can call it, guessing how long it would be until we saw you in a skirt or dress. This dress-up contest was arranged to give you the courage to proceed with your feminization. And the bet money we collected is the $2,000 first place prize that you have won. And now, here is Dr. Olson for some closing comments. Erica couldn't believe it. Was his desire to be a woman that obvious? Apparently, others were first to see what was in his heart, the desire, no, the need to be a woman. Dr. Olson spoke. First, I have to apologize to Erica for going along with Gail's request. Oops, Gus today to falsely tell Erica that her blood pressure was at dangerous levels, although it was elevated. Sorry, but that was simply a ploy to get her to agree to try cross-dressing. As your closet office friend, Gus was convinced that there was a woman inside of you, yearning to come out. After my examination, I agreed. Secondly, I don't regret that decision. Look at you today. We see, standing before us, a most beautiful, gorgeous, and sexy woman, a woman any man would love to find. If I were single and you were single, I'd ask you to marry me. Right now you're that sexy, that feminine, that much a woman, and when the day comes that you are ready for SRS, I will do the surgery for you at no charge. Congratulations on winning the title of Best Woman in the Office. It's a title that you've earned and a title that you should be proud to share with your spouse. May I present Ann Richards? As Ann walked towards her spouse, her face beamed with pride, happiness, and joy. She flung herself around Erica's neck and gave her a longer kiss than a newly married couple. A loud cheer erupted from the staff, and had taken off work at noon so she could attend Erica's office party, and made the following comments. When Erica came home one day, wearing a blouse, I immediately saw a different person. I sensed that she was really Erica inside, not Eric, but I didn't know how to express that to her. Little did I know that Gail, had the same feeling, as did some of you, So while I was pondering how to bring out the woman inside of Erica without overwhelming her by a change to the feminine, Gus was already at work, unknowingly helping me, and might I add, helping Erica. I am so pleased, so thrilled, that Erica blossomed into such a lovely woman, a sexy woman who anyone would crave to be with. I'm so fortunate to be the one who gets to enjoy that new woman, and I'm going to enjoy her every day for the rest of our lives. Dear Olson, I don't think it will be long before I send Erica to you, so she can become the woman she longs to be and the woman I love. God bless you all for all you have done for me and for Erica. And turned to Erica and announced, "Honey, a limo is outside, waiting to whisk us away. Let's head for the airport. We have a wedding to attend in Las Vegas and we still have to pick up your wedding dress. I had my wedding dress restored and it's at the shop waiting for you. I can't wait to see how sexy, how sweet you will look in it." When Eric's director had heard about the Halloween gig, he decided to attend. Wow, was he surprised to see how feminine some of his macho investigators could look. The director was so impressed at the effort his staff put into the party that he decided to contribute to its success, but his contribution was most unexpected. When the director heard that Ann and Erica were flying to Las Vegas to get married, as Ann and Erica, he decided that the entire staff should be present and participate in such a momentous occasion. He couldn't make an announcement that would blow the surprise, so, carefully, he went from one employee to the other and told each one that they were to meet him at the executive section of the airport, where the department's jet was parked. And yes, they were to come, dressed as they were. Instead of flying back to Washington, D.C., the director decided that he would take the entire staff to Las Vegas to attend Ann and Erica's wedding. What a remarkable occasion this would be for the entire office. Erica had no clue what all was in store for her in Las Vegas on her first day as a woman. They didn't even check into the hotel first. Another limo took them directly from the airport to a cute wedding chapel. They got out of the limo and proceeded to the wedding chapel. As they stepped inside the wedding chapel, Erica was shocked. Her entire staff was there. The men, because they were dressed as women, for the office party, served as the bridesmaids, while the women took the place of the groomsmen. Besides the office staff, many of the staff's spouses also attended the wedding. And, as a total surprise, Joanne, for the office party, was the maid of honor, with Gail being Gus, the best man. After the rude comments Joe made to Eric, while Eric's wardrobe was being feminized, he was the last person anyone expected to be the maid of honor. The wedding was truly memorable. Ann and Erica exchanged vows to love and cherish each other until death parts us. Looking at Ann, the pastor announced, "You may now kiss the bride," and kissed Erica much more passionately than she had at the office. This was the best moment of their lives and nothing could change that. A reception followed at the hotel. During the reception, Joanne was every bit a lady, as she was at the wedding. In fact, Joanne was a close second to Erica for the first place prize. She looked that good. Of course, this caused no small talk to be heard during the reception. Most of the staff thought that Joanne would be too embarrassed to go along with the program. Joe was just too macho for anyone to believe he could carry out this assignment. What made him put so much effort into looking so good? Too bad he didn't have to fly on a commercial flight, dressed as Joanne. That would have been a real test, to see just how tough he was. But then, there were also speculations about the real Joe. Dressed as Joanne, she made a very convincing woman and her mannerisms were quite feminine. Such feminine walk-in talk doesn't come overnight. Where did she learn how to act like a woman? Some of the female spouses speculated that Joanne might have some hidden feminine characteristics. They seemed to gravitate to Gail/Gus to discuss Joanne's potential as the next person in the office who might decide that being in a feminine mode is more rewarding than being a man. The secret had gotten out that Gail/Gus was responsible for helping Eric change to Erica, so they thought she would be the perfect person to approach Joanne while she was still looking so beautiful and tease her about a future as a woman to plant the seed in her mind. Gus approached Joanne and commented, "I didn't get a chance to congratulate you at the office, but the fact that the staff voted you runner-up to Erica should be a great compliment for what you accomplished today. You look absolutely stunning. If your wife wasn't such a fox, she would be jealous. You really are very sexy, as a woman. If you weren't married, Gus would propose to you right now." All Joanne could do was blush. Then, to check Joanne's reaction, Gus teased, "I'm going to talk to your wife and see if she'll give us permission to feminize you. I think that there is a woman hidden deep inside and it's time for her to come out." Again, the only response from Joanne was a very deep blush, but inside, she felt a deep feeling beginning to stir. What was that feeling? Joanne did notice that she looked very feminine when she got dressed up and she liked how she looked in femme attire, but she had never done this before. Why would she even reflect on how she looked? Her wife told her how feminine she looked after completing her transformation for the day. Gus parted with a final comment to Joanne, "Joanne, I think it would be a total waste for you to bottle up such a gorgeous, sexy woman. Give it some thought. I've taken the liberty of discussing this with your wife only moments ago, and she agrees that it appears there is a beautiful woman inside of you and she's not afraid if you chose to let that woman come out. In fact, if that's what you decide to do, she has asked whether I would help you at work, as I did Erica. Between the two of us, we can make a real woman out of you. If you agree, I have some ink ready to spill on you. Monday at the office, just come in and give me a big smile while in the copier room and I'll know what to do. I have some extra shirt blouses in my office. Come to think of it, let's not start with a blouse, we'll keep that trick retired for Erica. No blouse for you. We'll start you off with slacks. I have some nice women's slacks that you'd love to wear and they would look really stylish on you. You have such great legs." Gus smiled at Joanne and added, "Don't be late to the copier Monday, my dear Joanne." Joanne/Joe gave some thought to what Gail/Gus had said. She wondered whether Gail was right. The biggest surprise was to hear that her wife thinks that there is a woman inside of her, waiting to come out. Why did her wife never mention anything about this to her? But Joanne had never entertained thoughts of femininity. What were these people seeing in her that caused them to make these comments, thought Joanne. Why would his wife feel that way? Was it the way that he looked at her whenever she was getting dressed? Did his eyes convey that he longed to dress as nicely, as feminine as she did? And why would she not be opposed to her husband becoming a woman? Too many thoughts to ponder. Joanne needed a drink, so she headed over to the bar. After a few drinks, Joanne was joined by some of the other bridesmaids. Joe was known as the tough guy in the office. As his friends were sitting at the bar with him, he jokingly remarked to them, "Hey guys, can you imagine what Gus just told me? She thinks that I look so hot, as a woman, I should consider becoming one. Yeah, sure, when hell freezes over, and my wife becomes a man." Everyone roared with laughter, forgetting, for the moment, that they should act more dignified, because they were women, for today and women don't act that way. A couple of the guys replied that as good-looking as he is, as a woman, he shouldn't turn down such an opportunity. They told him that as a woman, he could score with a lot of guys and maybe he could retire early if he scored with a sugar daddy. Wow, telling these macho guys what I just told them was a dumb idea, thought Joe. Nevertheless, the thought of becoming a woman was becoming intriguing. Being an overachiever and never one to back down from a challenge, Joe thought that he would give Gail's suggestion some serious consideration. But wait a minute, why? Why should he even consider her suggestion? He was a macho man, not some effeminate sissy. But did one have to be effeminate or a sissy to appreciate the feminine to get in touch with one's feminine side? And if one was born in the wrong body, it would be no surprise that he acted macho to match his exterior appearance and out of embarrassment to hide his true inner feelings. When Joe got home, he discussed Gail's suggestion with his wife, Jill. Jill's wife admitted that she saw a woman within him, but told Joe that the choice should be entirely up to him and not to be influenced by him thinking that she, Jill, wanted him to become a woman. I do think that you would make a great woman. You looked remarkably natural as a woman for Halloween, and when I observed you at the wedding, I saw how naturally you walked, talked and acted as a woman. You really fell into the role, and I really loved seeing you in that role. You were much gentler, more loving and more relaxed. It would be a shame to let such talent and natural ability go to waste. Think about it, but know that either way, I support your decision. I love you as my husband and I would love you as my girlfriend, a very beautiful girlfriend that I would be proud of. My only fear is that the men would be terribly lusting after you as a woman. How you would handle that, the men hitting on you, would be up to you. As long as you come home to me, after a night out, I can handle it, remarked Jill. Joe had too much to process. As he was driving to work, he didn't pay attention to his driving and almost had an accident. No, not that type of accident. That type of accident almost happened to him when he first saw himself in the mirror, at home, before going to the Halloween party, and almost again, when he saw Erica that day, in her full glory as a woman. But back to what he should do. Joe had never faced a more difficult decision in his life, a possible life-changing decision. How could he ever leave his manhood for pursuit of a life as a woman? Jill, his wife, was a stone fox. No one within 1,000 miles, had a wife as gorgeous, as sexy, as feminine, as Jill. He could never give that up. He loved going out with her, showing off his trophy to the world. No, he would not give that up. Never, never, never. And that settled it. There would be no more discussion on this matter. Joe arrived at the office to the sound of chatter from the staff. All were reliving the events of the past weekend. Joe talked with several coworkers as he was getting his coffee. Just as he getting ready to walk out of the lunchroom, Erica came in for her monthly visit. Wow, did she look smashingly hot and sexy? Was this the same person he had known as Eric? How did he, Eric, ever have the nerve to undergo a transition, giving up his macho character, to become a woman? What was he thinking? But Joe couldn't argue with the results, and besides, Erica looked so happy, so radiant. Heck, if he was single, he would hit on this woman. She was gorgeous and so feminine. Erica smiled at Joe and greeted him. Hi, Joe. Nice transformation from the gorgeous woman I saw only a few days ago. Sorry to see that you're back in your Wranglers for your usual football player look again, but don't get any macho ideas. I'm not available for dating, sorry, but I am flattered. As Erica finished greeting him, Joe took a long look at her. She was the epitome of womanhood, sexy, gorgeous and feminine, totally feminine, and above all, she was so radiant. Erica was never a happier person than she was at this moment. This happiness, this inner peace, this radiance of joy was something that Joe did not possess. And having people stare at you, because of how gorgeous, how sexy you are, was also not something to be overlooked, but Joe would have none of that. He was a man. So what if he dressed as a woman for Halloween? That doesn't mean he wants to be a woman. Dressing as a woman was the office requirement this year. It wasn't Joe's idea. It wasn't his fault that his wife made him look so super feminine, so super sexy. He was secure in his masculinity. He didn't need to experiment to see whether he should be a man or a woman. Besides, he had the most gorgeous woman for his wife. Joe ran these thoughts and Gail's comments through his head for the last time, he determined. Joe had settled the issue. No more debating was necessary. He felt relieved. After greeting everybody in the lunchroom, Joe finally got his coffee refill and turned towards the door. Stepping into the hallway, Joe loudly hollered, "Gail, I spilled coffee on my pants."